Test, test, test. Okay. I think it's fixed. Can you hear me? I'm gonna assume yes, because it looks like OBS is working just fine. Okay, cool. Hey Kevin, hey Stilling. And hey Ska Man. Alright, so today's Friday. Adam is, what am I even doing? I don't know what I'm doing today. Hey Soli on YouTube. Let's look at the to-do list. So some PRs, some balance stuff. Um, I don't know. Let's just say Adam is going to keep working on miscellaneous tasks for Skeleseller. The main goal is to get the game ready for launch in a few months. Yeah, there's. I think we'll just leave it at that. Not many people use the today command on their own anyway, and there's probably not too much to really say. So we're gonna start with PRs. I I I've been learning some more things about marketing. So for one, I mentioned this before, but if you go to someone's YouTube channel, let me mute this, and you look at the about section, there should be a little email widget here. Yeah, view email address. Turns out you can only click this so many times per day. So if you go to 10 different channels, I think it lets you do that. But if you go to the 11th one, I think it'll be like, oh, sorry, you got into an email addresses, which makes sense. They don't want you going and collecting, thousands of email addresses and then emailing every single YouTuber. But since I didn't know this influencer list that I've been making, so here I just have links because this is a public spreadsheet, but in my private one, I have their email addresses next to it as well. I've just been putting all the different channels here and then waiting until my like marketing blast day. I can't do that anymore. When I add these, I need to make sure that like at least 10 per day I'm getting their email address, I guess. Yeah. So I reached out to, I want to say 12 YouTubers yesterday, and one already made a video. I posted that in Discord, and then one like semi agreed to make a video, and then the other 10 has been silenced. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're not going to make a video. It could mean anything. Let me know if you need me to get some of those. Thanks. Yeah, yeah. I think it should be fine for now, because the way I've been doing this has been what I pretty much just showed, which is, you've probably seen me on stream already doing this, but I go and collect like, let's say 20 of these at a time. So I don't even have that many more that I don't have their email address for. But I need to do this process again where I go fetch another like 30 channels. So yeah, I will probably need it at some point. Hi now on Twitch solely. It was my last day of work as I resigned. No raise for 2 years. Got tired, and after performance review result, resigned on spot. Did they say anything to try to be like, well, now that you're leaving, no, you could have the raise you've always wanted, or were they just like, okay, see you? Either way, I hope you feel good about it. I hope things end up going well there. I think these sorts of things, I don't know if this sounds bad or not, but like, some actions kind of need consequences or else people never change anything. And in this case, it's like you wanted to get a raise and they just didn't give you one. Short of quitting, there might not have been anything you could do. It's like they just need a bunch of people to quit for them to realize, oh, hey, we're not valuing our employees. And by then, sometimes it's too late. And even then, when things happen, it's like they might not realize that, oh, this was the result of my actions. They might just be like, well, workers suck nowadays. People are lazy or something like that. They were persistent for no raise. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I hope you land on your feet. Let's look through some PRs. Loot from battle takes too much space in small battle window. Yep. I made it so the items shrink. This makes the layout adapt better to small instance slots. Okay, sounds good. I haven't had many programming tasks to work for a while, but we finally got something last Thursday. Happy to be programming again. Summer vacation starts today, and I'm not sure I'll be able to leave it be for 3 weeks. Summer vacation. Are you in school right now? Or is it just a vacation that takes place in summer? Like you're going somewhere? Or what? I'm curious. Because that work and summer vacation don't seem to go hand in hand to me. Vacation is an EU thing. Okay. I honestly was surprised. So summer vacation for us in America is for people in school. You get somewhere between like 1 and 2.5 months off, and then once you're done with school, it doesn't happen again. You don't get your summer vacation unless you work in a school. I like when these things happen on stream. It's funny ignorance, not shameful ignorance. Okay. So loot item, we have a size flag, which is presumably an expand sort of thing. It's too bad these are never saved as enumeration, so you can actually read them here. You can load it up in the editor and find out what means what, but it's difficult. All right, adapt to slot scale, size on next frame, adapt to slot scale. So where is that? That's probably the next thing. Max height equals get size for slot scale. Okay. And then where is adapt? Custom minimum size. Yeah, okay. I think this looks pretty reasonable. Let's go try it out. 1090. What branch was I on before that? Main. Okay, good. All right, so we reload this. Now, let's at least look at this loot item. Loot item. I want to see what this flag is. It's the HBox container is now set to 0, so it's this. And that means... Wait, that's not sizing. Size flags vertical. Got some of this stuff. Shrink begin. Okay, so that's what 0 is. How does that make any sense in terms of this menu? Yeah, weird. Fill shows up on top, but shrink begin is actually 0. Okay, well, that's fine. And then what is 4? 4 is shrink center. Okay, yep, seems good. Okay, let's try it. Want to have a good vocation and then focus on making my game financially stable for several years. Starting my 4th decade of life, I like it to be something different. One of the inspiring people to do it without hesitation and emotionally prepared. Well, okay, so thank you. I'm glad it's inspiring. It was about 10 years ago that I started this sort of thing. And back then there were people saying things like, that's brave of you to quit your job or something. I didn't look at it as bravery. I didn't even think about this. I didn't really even probably consider the chance of failure. So I think it's just having like confidence blinders on, and not deserved ones at that point because Botland didn't do well. So once you're in it though, I think you realize what's important to you. You learn a lot. And that's something I really appreciate about these processes, and really anything that kind of forces you to get out of your comfort zone. But marketing is the latest big thing to get me out of my comfort zone. And I'm realizing how the way I looked at things even 5 years ago was just sort of wrong, but it was definitely different. And one of the things I remember back then, I was watching more Twitch. I was watching speedrunners and Hearthstone streamers and maybe some other people here and there. And I thought, oh, I'll market at them. It made no sense. I did reach out to speedrunners and I reached out to Hearthstone streamers, and some of them actually responded to me. And no one ended up streaming the game from those categories of people, I think. Although some people, at least, I mean, they were kind of nice about it. They gave me some feedback. Whereas now I keep thinking, like, I should have just found people who might have liked these kinds of games. Maybe Botland would have done better. I still don't think Botland was a great product. So I think the ceiling for how well it would have done would have been lower than what Skeleseller could do, maybe. But we wouldn't have known, and I will never know because I'm not going back in time. Don't have a time machine. Hey, Maniac Bind, I was just thinking about you. I was like, when I ran into him, he said something like Mondays and Fridays I show up. So I'm like, I wonder if today's a Friday that he'll show up. And here you are. Okay, so when we win, this shows like that. Then we shrink this, and it shows really small. And then we can enlarge it. Yeah, okay. So, I think we'll keep this. Yeah, I think we'll keep this. The thing that I was debating on is, should we only shrink this when we have enough items to sort of need it to shrink? Because in the picture that we have here, and I think the answer is no, I think we'll just merge this. But in the picture that we have here, the reason this is a problem is because we have 2 rows of items. So we could detect that we don't even need to detect. We could just say, if you have more than 2 or you have more than 3 items, then make it tiny. And then the other thing we should do here is run a final battle and win that. Well, we should do it until we get 2 rows of things. Is it even possible to get 2 rows of things? It might not be because now everything is tiny. We could click that, but I don't think that's going to matter. No, because it'll never go beyond 10. Anyway, looks good to me. Yeah. Looks good. Another issue closed. The clap should be on the left side, at least with this style of emoji. I had to add loot to the instance. Yeah, it looked like it. I see some items there that didn't look like items that you can... What are all these other ones? They're like wands and stuff. Neat. Okay. Hang on one second. Hang on. Sorry. Are you going to add a stage counter in the window? I'm not sure. People had asked for it, and I think we could now that we have a title bar. But I also don't think it's super important. So yeah, we probably will at some point. Hey, Phil. Also, I don't know if I said this, but high knowledge. Okay, so that one's done. And now fix spurious warning about vanishing node. I think this was a very simple thing that Kevin had done here, which is good. Yeah, that there were just some nodes that didn't belong. This used to happen pretty much all the time. So I guess if we just run this now, in fact, we already see it. So I just need to run battles 1093. I think it's better to have an icon to bring settings. I'm almost finishing the game and then accidentally pressed escape. Then I managed to mute the sword noise. Okay, wait. So a couple things. One, when you say an icon to get to the settings, you mean instead of having to press escape, there should be a button? Because yeah, that's something we should definitely do. Even if we just throw something at the upper right that's really small, I think that would work. But then you said you muted the sword noise. This screen mutes everything. But if you accidentally clicked one of these, then yeah, I wonder if like a revert to normal settings or reset to defaults would be good. But if what you're saying is you just stopped hearing the noise on this screen, that's not technically a bug. But yeah, the settings thing, I don't think we have that listed anywhere. Make settings button bigger on the title screen. Do we have something like this? In-game menu. All right, well, maybe we do, maybe we don't. I'll just file a new one. Show a settings gear at the upper right of the game when you're not already. Yeah. You don't need to press escape. So right now, the only way to open the settings screen is to press escape. Most people are fine with this, but we have heard a few people say that they were expecting a button. I think a like a 95% opaque button at the upper right would help for this. Well, maybe we don't need to do anything for that. I found menu and clicked setting and then unchecked it. Unchecked what? Because there shouldn't be anything. The only checkboxes are here. I think what you mean is you were dragging one of these things down to nothing. Yeah, the sliders. Yeah. Yeah, and then the title screen does have a settings button. I think that's what you're looking for. That's already there. And it opens the same thing. Okay. So we need to pull this branch, which we did, and now I need to run this, which I did not. Yeah, so the only part I'm not clear on, it sounds like what you want as a reset to default. Because the ability to mute things is the point of these sliders. So I don't want to get rid of the sliders, but if you accidentally, well, yeah, I guess even if you accidentally do this, it does ask you want to save changes. So you could just not save them. So I don't think that part's a problem, maybe. Doing paperwork nonstop, my brain's toasted. Oh man, I'm glad you got them in. Or are going to get them in. That would have been bad. Oh, whoa, that's something's wrong there. Why is this huge? That's not good. Yeah, this is not good. Maybe this is a problem with me needing to load this. Let me go take a look at this. Yeah, this screen is gigantic now. Huh. Yeah, something broke there. And it's like pushing it's pushing everything downward. I wonder what happened. How did that even happen? Huh. But more balance needed. Yeah, it is the demo, although generally I've seen almost everyone completes the game in about 2 hours. Because once you hit level 8 or once you actually like tweak the party a bit, it's not too bad to beat. But the demo balance is going to be different from the final game balance. So that should just kind of naturally be taken care of. Okay, I don't know what's causing this to happen. So we got to look at that. Can you open the party member scenes? That's odd. Yeah. I might need to reload the project, although I'd be surprised if I had to, because I didn't see any like project specific stuff change. Party member. I would expect this whole thing to shrink, but maybe I'd be looking in the wrong place for this. First, how about this? Let's go back to main. Let's figure out if this is being caused by this issue, by this PR, I mean. Because the only diff is that one file. Now we create an instance, and yeah, this is looking fine. So let's go back to this. You know what might be happening? It might be that those nodes were needed in some case, and maybe it's, I don't know why it would be different on Kevin's machine, but maybe there was an exception or an error or something. Because I did see debugger showed up in red. It's not doing that anymore. So everything's probably fine. Oh, maybe it's only when you click create instance. No, it's not. Yeah, bizarre. Bizarre that this would do this. Or maybe it is that there's, what's the commit here? 63D. Git log -1, 63D. Yeah. Strange. When I want to start a new one, it was closing the current fight and opening a new one. Tried multiple times, resetting the game, but no use. Yeah, the reason for that is because you're trying to use party members that are already in battle. So if I start a battle with the golem right now, I have 2 windows open. If I try starting a battle with the cleric and the golem who are already in 2 windows, it's going to close them and collapse it into one. What would cause this? They're all deleted, but none of these should have been needed. And it's in battle party member. Which, oh, you know what probably happened? Okay, hold on. Maybe this has to do with when you, do I have changes? No, I don't. I was gonna say maybe it has to do with when you modify an inherited scene that it it pulls some property from the base one again, but nothing else changed here other than deleting nodes. Hmm. Where's available skill points label? Doesn't exist. Okay, I am perplexed by this. I guess what we could do is we could just go change this and put this right back into the scene. It's lines 5 to 14, 7 to 14, basically. Battle party member.tscn. Oh yeah, so it's just the bottom of this. So if I do this and load this up, we now have what? Name visible, available skill points visible, and control visible. Oh, this is, oh, I see what we're doing. Yeah, we do need to override these things. Huh. Okay, so then I think this is not the right PR for this. If I assign mana and start a fight, then quit the game, it was taking mana before assigning, and I should do the assigning again. I wonder if mana assign is written immediately. You're talking about for the enchanter? Because it'll take the mana immediately, but it's going to store in your save file that it used this spell. So like right now it says 24 seconds. If I save and load, this should still be, yeah, this is still 24 seconds. So that wasn't happening for you. That's sounds like a bug. But I deleted its override on those nodes. It seemed to me like it was not needed because they didn't match, but maybe one of them is needed. It specifically doesn't exist anywhere. I think it was renamed. Maybe only that line needs to go. Yeah, I think it's that probably needs to change. And the other ones are gonna stay. We do have this control as well. Yeah. And that's so that we can get rid of the level from showing. Wait, why do we stop the level from showing though? That, oh, maybe because this is so tiny that we'd only want to show the available skill points thing. And yeah, the name is what expands this thing like crazy. So we definitely don't want the name to show. Available skill points label. Okay, I see. So this should be fine. And if we were to turn this off, we'd end up with something that's too wide, I believe. That's not really that's too wide. In fact, we could keep it like this. Let's try this out. Assign mana to heroes and improving them. Oh, wisdom sludge? Are you talking about at the farm? Like the stuff you get when you harvest this? The icon up there? Let me read your message again. If I assign mana and start a fight, so if you assign wisdom sludge and start a fight and quit the game, it was taking the sludge before assigning, and I should do the assigning again. I I I don't understand what you mean. I'm sorry. I think what you need to do is you need to tell me the list of things that you're actually clicking with their names here, because yeah, it's not clear from what you're saying what the actual issue is. Hey, who cares? Hello, hello. Okay, so what I was going to try here is what happens when we enter a battle. So now we see a 1 show up there, and that was never showing. And that's fine. I mean, we can have this work either way. But when you level up, now we'll see both of these show. And yeah, it looks a little crowded when we do that. I guess it's not too bad. Yeah, so the only question here is just, does that look stupid? And I think it does a little bit. So yeah, let's just hide the thing that we had there originally. That's fine. So then the only thing that's going to change is they will remove this thing, which didn't even point to anything. Yeah. And what was the warning? I don't have it anymore, but I could probably fetch it. Available skill points, little this. Here were my notes on the warning. There. Okay, yeah, well, I think it's fixed. We launched through here. We didn't see anything print out. We can end the battle. We can win the battle. We can hopefully flee the battle. And it looks good. Yeah, so let's check in that. Restore changes to existing nodes. Without this, the battle party member is too tall since we'd show the name. And it's slightly too crowded when we show the level as well. We now hide both of those. Okay, explaining again. Yes, the ones you improve hero strength by potions, and then if you quit game, hero's improvement will be reset. Unless I think you start a fight with them or something. So make the file write happen. Oh, I think what you're seeing is there's an autosave every 5 minutes. And possibly when you ran it the first time, so like you tested it out, and then it didn't save, and then you tested it with a battle and it did save. This was just a coincidence, I think. With that said, I think that when you go to quit the game, it should save the game for you or ask you if you want to save the game. And it's not doing that right now. I could scale way out and then zoom in to see pixels. First time seeing pixel animations look nice. Maybe a better min-max would help. Also, lock camera feature would be good. You could scale way out and then zoom in to see pixels. So when you say that, you're talking about... So we have this here. You're talking about changing the game scale setting? Whoops. So this here. So I'm guessing you either did this, where you set it to the maximum and then like zoomed in or out here, or you set it to the minimum and then zoomed in or out. These are just how game scale works. I don't think there's a bug there exactly. And yeah, happy Friday, who cares? Follow camera and lock it to a minion. Well, I'm not talking about the lock camera thing. I'm talking about, you mentioned scale and zooming. I think we should probably just keep this on Discord. I think this is a little distracting right now, to be honest. Only because there's like quite a lot of back and forth. And I think if you just shared pictures of this stuff, it would be a lot clearer what's going on. Because the terminology you're using is a little different from the terminology that I would use for this stuff. So yeah, if you don't mind, anything that you think is a bug, if you could post on Discord and just share screenshots. I think the screenshots would help. Because I don't think there's an issue with game scale or anything. And I'm not sure if that's what you're talking about. But the quitting and saving thing is something that we wanna change. Yeah, ask if the user wants to save when quitting. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so this PR should now be good to go. Okay, I'm gonna merge this. And now we can go back to main here. And then load this up. The game should look good. So next up was balance adventurers. It's not easy to do. The zoom, I think, only scales the game and not the menu. No, it scales the menu. You can see it happen right here. If I zoom in, you see how everything just got bigger? And when I zoom out, everything, like now, this is only taking up half the size of my screen. Yeah, that's a to-do item. Please make text size a bit bigger. You can make the text size bigger by just doing this. Yeah. Menu should not be scalable. Why? How would you make the text size bigger and not make the menu bigger? Like the whole point of this setting is so that if you're on a very large screen that you can still see everything. So if that didn't seem to work for you, then that would be a problem. But otherwise, the feature is supposed to make everything larger on your screen. Well, like I said, I think we should talk about this on Discord. I think, yeah, stick to Discord with screenshots for this feedback, please. Yeah, because like I said, it's a little distracting, and I think we're spending quite a long time just trying to understand each other. And with screenshots, it'd be a lot easier. and then I could do this later. So yeah, that'd be good. Hey Caleb, how you doing? Seems like Twitch has made all the buttons round. Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a couple people talk about this in some font size change or something. Yeah. But I'm doing well. How are you doing? We're gonna balance these adventures. So we have 3 new ones. We need the mushroom, the golem, and the spirit caller. So let's go pull up the balance simulator. Or battle simulator. What am I talking about? Battle simulator. Okay, so as I recall this being underpowered, and I recall this being overpowered, and I recall this maybe being slightly too tanky, and the paladin I think had a problem too. Yeah. Paladin should heal everybody in the party, buff the paladin. Lean into the main difference, taunt enemies when at the most life of your party, share damage with allies regardless of life. Not sure how we would do that a little bit more. But the paladin themselves would need healing. Yeah, I think I made the golem and the paladin too similar. But let's just look at the mushroom character for now. Some really exciting things at work happening that I can't talk about. Well, nice. You can talk about your excitement. So what's strange about the mushroom character is that they're not supposed to be solo. So if we were to just unlock all the adventurers and then level them all up to, let's say, 6. So here are the abilities you'd have access to. And you're intended to die, but you don't have a revive until level 8. I think that in itself is also maybe a problem. Although by the time you're unlocking the mushroom character, maybe you're pretty much guaranteed to get it to level 8 quickly. Yeah, because otherwise I think this ability on its own, just use an attack when you die, is not very interesting. Not bad though. But okay, anyway, we're level 6 and we have access to any of the top abilities, so let's pick some of them. So less than 25% health, your power is increased. Oh man, I wonder if we should just move this. Yeah, like this could be an ability you have to learn. And then Heart of the Forest could be an ability that you have by default, and then you improve. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about this. Because a lot of these abilities don't make sense without the character reviving itself. Yeah, I think that's why this character is so weak. With 5 friends, and there was a lot of fun chaos. Nice. Okay, well, I'm realizing this now. So maybe the revival ability should be innate because the other abilities don't really make sense without reviving. Close call requires you to be at low health, meaning you'll die anyway. Dying blow requires you to die, which means it would only happen once. Hey, Matt. And hey, Palman. What else do we have here? The first one happens sooner. That's fine. That's kind of fine. Improved fungal spread requires the mushroom to kill the enemy. Which I guess is, yeah, I think this one's fine, actually. So I think the problems are there. And then what else do we have? That's fine. And yeah, there's a pawn dying. So 3 abilities synergize with dying. So if we were to shift these things around, would anyone ever put a point into this? Instantaneously heal at the end of a battle? Probably not. So maybe fungal spread should just be an ability that has 3 points in it. Yeah, so that's what I think we should do for skill changes. Skill changes. Move or like swap. What's it called? Heart of the Forest. Oh, but then you can't upgrade it. Oh, darn it. Oh, man. No, well, wait. Could you? No, yeah. You. No, you could. Yeah, you could. Yeah. So make Heart of the Forest an innate ability. And it would say something like revives Mushy after X seconds with, what does it say? With Y% life. Then remove fungal spread and just have, I guess it's like merge fungal spread and improved fungal spread into one non-innate ability. And then rename Heart of the Forest. Rename the original Heart of the Forest to improved Heart of the Forest. Hey, M2. Happy Friday. All right. Yeah, I think those are the changes we would make. In that way, skill changes so that the mushroom always has a revive ability. Even then, I don't think this would really help all that much. It'd be a minor improvement so that it's like you always have a point in this ability. And we could do all our tests as though we have 1 point in this ability. Skeleseller is a command. It just has 4 L's, I believe, not 3. Oh, man. I guess reviving and having 10% life could actually happen faster. And then we lower the delay from there. I don't know. This is the stuff we need to test out. We need to have a baseline, like a comparison point. Maybe the mage or the rogue in a battle versus having Mushy in a battle. Oh, maybe gone when I deleted it. Oh, yeah, that's true. Wait, which means it isn't Skeleseller not even a command anymore? No, it is. All right. Skeleseller. There we go. Let's make Caleb happy. I added that right yet. Okay. Well, let's go test some things out then, huh? So we're going to go to the forest with, I guess, these characters. We have some things figured out for them. Warrior, Mage, Rogue, and Archer. And they're level 4. And what does this do? Number of adventures in level 4. Why is set power levels is called multiple times? Can this go down in level? Debug level up adventures. Nope, it cannot go down. So this thing doesn't need to be here. Oh, wait. Oh, that's Q random party. I don't even want that. Okay. So let's go try this. Turn this on. Man, this is going to be difficult to do, the balancing work. And it's not really going to be fun, but it is needed. So I think we just need to barrel through this. So let's see. This was our baseline. We're losing practically every battle. Oh, what's all that? Returning invalid ID. What is all of that? Error loading resource 30 Earth 2. 30 Earth 02. It doesn't exist. What's trying to load that? What is trying to load that? Stalagmite? Seriously? I was already using this? I don't remember that. I thought we searched for all this stuff. 30 Earth 02 modified. Oh, wow. I guess this has been broken and I just never tested the mage with stalagmite to find out. And it wasn't until just now that this turned out to be a problem. Oh, man. Oh, also, we have the performance improvement from all the ECS changes. So the amount of time it took to simulate is probably way faster than what it used to be. Now it's 4.8 seconds. I wonder if we undo that performance change, what this would have been. Do you use ad block? I use Pi-hole, which is a DNS level ad block of sorts. All right, so there are a few things we got to write down here. Clean up. Rename forest 2 in the commented out battle simulator code. So we were using the earth sound, and I need to listen to what this sounds like. Okay, so yeah, I guess we need the other one. Hard to keep up with all the changes. Yeah, and it's like very minor sugar in this case. So Leo, we search for earth. Not like that, earth. Where is it? This one. So this is going to sound pretty similar between the mage and the golem. What does this sound like? That's not going to work. I like this one. Do we have anything else? That one's not bad. That could work for stalagmite. That could also work. That's pretty good. Yeah, I like that a lot. Earth Surge. Earth Surge. Okay, so we don't have that in the game already. And it sounds like it's very loud. So let's go set this up. So assets, audio, sounds, battle. Paste that in. So that's 01 Earth Surge. And now, instead of stalagmite using what it was trying to use, we use Earth Surge instead. And then we just lower the volume by probably a significant amount. And then we need to test this out without the battle simulator. I also want to test really fast. Oh, should go down here. See how long battles took to simulate before the ECS changes. Okay, let's try this. Let's listen for how this sounds. There's a lot to do here. Yeah. So we got to turn on sounds. And then get all the characters. And then get stalagmite. And then put the mage into a battle. It's pretty good. Even the volume level is pretty good. Yeah, I think you need to be a touch louder. But only a touch. So there we go. So now let's mute this. Give me 1 sec. Hang on a second. Okay. It wasn't Abby. My wife needed to tell me something. I might need to go at 3 o'clock today. May need to go at 3 p.m. Which maybe I'll take a quicker lunch. Quicker lunch. Maybe just end early. I don't know. But yeah, I broke stalagmite, so let's check that in. Fix stalagmite sound. When I implemented the golem, I stole the mage's stalagmite sound. We had a lot of issues though, didn't we? No, it was always just stalagmite. They were all Earth 02, whatever. So if we search for this and then delete all of those, and then search for this and then delete all of those, we have no errors. Yeah. Wow. Well, that was lucky. I mean, I don't think anyone would have even noticed in the game because it doesn't crash the battle or anything. It just doesn't play a sound. Okay, so we haven't done anything beyond that. I want to test that ECS change now. So we ran this once. I'm going to go back to the battle simulator. We're going to set this back to true. It took 4.8 seconds the first time. I'm going to run this again. It should take roughly the same amount of time. In fact, it's possible it goes slightly faster now because it wouldn't be printing out an error whenever it tries using stalagmite. But anyway, it shouldn't take like a drastically different amount of time. So let's see how long it took. 6.6 seconds. Huh, interesting. Maybe this stalagmite thing was messing everything up. All right, well, whatever. I'll just record a few of these because I want to see how much was this with the change and then how much is it without the change. Because the faster this goes, the more battles we could test or the less we have to wait pretty much. So now it's 6.411 seconds. Okay, so those are both pretty similar to each other. Now let's go try without the performance improvement. So we would revert just this file, ECS. So let's go view this file and copy it all into ecs.cs. And now run this again. That should be all it takes for us to get back to the old performance that we had. There were other changes too, but they should be superfluous at this point. And now I'm guessing it's going to take a lot longer. We do so many get component calls, and we made that faster by an order of magnitude. Where's the time? No, simulation time is actually still pretty similar, huh? Without ECS improvements. How does that make sense? How does that make sense? There's get node calls in here, right? Get node container. Get component. Wait, did I copy the wrong thing? I think I copied the wrong thing. This is with the changes, right? I want the one without the changes. Ensure component holder exists. Yeah, this is wrong. I meant to get the left side of this. Okay. Well, anyway, it took what? This for one of them and then this. So I guess we just got two more trials of with the improvements. So the without the improvements one is the left side of this. How do I get the left side of this? I guess let's just go to this file and then look at the commit history. There might be an easier way to do this. That's not what I want. That's what I want. Yeah, so I want this one. And now view file, copy, and paste that in. So now this should have a get node call, right? Or add child. Yeah, it does. Okay, let's run that. Hey, Ryan. Type or namespace, ECS entity cannot be found. Oh, because that was part of the new file? Okay, that's fine. We can go change that really fast. That should be dead simple. We just copy this. This is not any part of the performance improvement. So now that we should be at reduced performance for all of this. But how much? So yeah, instead of it taking 6 seconds, it's now going to take longer. Let's wait and see. Took about 9. I'll run that again. So it's about 33% faster. I mean, that's still really good. I'll just do this one last trial. That's all I want to do. Then we're going to get to the actual balance changes. This one took 8.3 seconds. So if we were to average all these out, we select all of these numbers. We do this. We do this, 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 this. And then, so that was our average before this. Average was, let's just round to 6.31. And then the average of this, I'm just going to eyeball, was roughly 8.6-ish. So 6.31 divided by 8.6. So yeah, 27% faster. All right. So now we can undo what I did and just have the performance changes. I did not even know that was a thing. I was in the wrong program and I pressed that. Done. Hey, Acker. Good morning to you. All right, so we wanted a baseline for maybe a battle that they actually win. Maybe we should have them be level 6. But then they're pretty much guaranteed to win. I don't know how many times the mushroom character is going to turn the tide of the battle. I guess it doesn't really matter. And we just need the balance to be good enough. Oh, man. All right. So what skills do we want? Mage should have ability ID dot. What's the lightning stuff called? Echo Strike, Storm Intensity. Let's go with Storm Intensity. Crush, Rage, Survival Instinct, and let's go with Shields Up. Rogue will have Crit as well. The Archer will have Triple Split. No, that's not a good idea. What should they have? Wild Shot, Rapid Shot? Yeah. Okay, so here are their abilities. They're level 6. They should probably win every single fight. Give them my resume? Yes. Up to 30%. Everyone has, at every given moment in time, optimized everything up to 30%. Okay, so now we've won every single battle, and here's where we need to find the right metric. We need to find how long the battle took. The battle on average took 14.6 seconds. All right, so let's copy that. So this is with our like standard party. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take one of the DPS classes out. So either mage, rogue, or archer. So I guess let's start by taking the archer out. And we're gonna put the mushroom in. But we're gonna do something a little bit different here. The battles didn't even last really long enough for this thing to revive itself, which is kind of showing the balance issues that we have. So let's do Dying Blow, level 1. Let's do, what's the preparedness? Preparedness? Yeah, preparedness level 2. And let's give it, we're going to give it an extra skill point in Heart of the Forest because I want this to be innate. Act like this is innate. Okay, now let's run that. So originally, this party took about 14.6 seconds to win. Does this new party do better? Because I expect them to do worse. I think the mushroom is just poorly balanced. The mushroom has a skill loadout, but they're not present for the fight. Oh, right. Gotta replace the archer. Yeah, the battle duration went up significantly. 18.6 seconds. The mushroom is terrible. Ah, man. Okay, well, we got to redesign some stuff then. And I think it's got to be these things that I was going to change. But I think the problem is Heart of the Forest. So right now it's level 1 is 10 seconds and 10% life. It's to revive with, I guess, like the revival properties are that. And then we did 9 seconds and 30% life, I think. And then this 8 seconds and 50% life. Is that how that works? Yes. So if these were really long battles, this may be good, but we don't have really long battles. So combined with Dying Blow, if the revive time is too low, then it's like attacking very rapidly. Or is there not much room for improvement? Okay, props to you for that. Rami comes in here with, 14 different puns, and one of them is decent. Caleb's on fire right now. Okay, so let's just pencil and paper do this thing really fast. So let's say we change this to be minus 5 seconds, because I think this is a little bit crazy here. 10% life just means they're going to die again. And I don't even know, do you want them to live for longer? Like, is the synergy here just have this thing die over and over and over? Like, what's the point of giving them more life? Well, you're getting all the bad ones out for your colleagues on a project you can't talk about. Maybe we don't change the amount of life you revive with. Although I do kind of like the idea of improving this. I just don't think the mushroom's really going to matter too much in that regard. How much life do they have? 216 versus the warrior has 351. 216 divided by 351. So they're at like 60% of a powerful character. And compared to, let's say, the rogue, 216 divided by 270, they're at 80%. So if we revive them with 50% life, we're giving them 108 life. And I wonder how much damage enemies do. I guess they're not going to kill it that fast. I guess 50% does kind of feel like a lot then. Yeah, okay. So then I think I'm fine with that part. So let's look at the numbers now for this. The revival time, 5 seconds. And let's say you upgraded this to this one. So this means that the mushroom could technically die every 3 seconds. And every time they do, they'll use Dying Blow, which uses their attack that's normally on a 7-second cooldown. Is that on its own too much? Also, maybe level 0 should be like 7 seconds and 5% life. It would just die again. That wouldn't work. How much damage do they do to themselves? How much do they do? Recoil damage, 10%. Oh, so they die in one hit. Okay, well, we need to bump these numbers up a bit then. So this needs to at least be 15%. And then these all need to be probably just 15 plus whatever we had written down. Yeah. Okay, so let's go tweak these numbers. Heart of the Forest has a life restored of 10%. We're going to set that to 15. Or no, we're not. We're not going to do that. We're going to do this stuff. So we're going to say that this is 7, 5, 4, 3, and that this one is those numbers. Yep, looks good. So here's our rebalanced character. And right off the bat, we have made them, I guess, a very tiny bit more powerful. in two ways. One, they're not going to revive with just 10% life because that means they die after using one attack. And two, they're going to revive 3 seconds sooner. So just this change alone should get these numbers to be a little different. So here was before the buff. And then let's run one with after the buff. So before the buff, battles took 18.6 seconds. And we ran 100 of them. So it's a pretty good sample size. And now we're going to run another 100 and just see what those revival changes do. So let's see what it did. The average is almost exactly the same. So it had pretty much no impact. How is that possible that it had almost no impact? Oh, because they don't have Dying Blow? No, I gave them Dying Blow. What? Any particular reason why you have a set of values for skills in lists instead of arrays? You mean here? Because depending on where, it's because you could have any number of those skills. And if you had them in an array, you need to specify, I guess, every skill at once pretty much. Or you need to just dynamically create arrays. But in practice, it's very little difference between the two. Where you pasted a comment and changed. Oh, here? Oh, I think this has to do with us using a function that takes in a list for formatting these things. We could have that function take in arrays. But like I said, functionally, it doesn't really make a lot of difference here. But yeah, generally you'd want to use a list when you're actually going to resize something. We're not resizing this. And it might also have to do with what this used to be. I think we might have generated these lists at one point based on formulas. But yeah, it doesn't make too much of a difference. Both those constants had 0 for first level and now don't. Does that matter? Oh, I guess technically we buffed this even more than I meant to then. Because I was giving them level 1 to begin with. So they went from 10 seconds down to 5 seconds. And 10% life up to 25% life. Why did that not help as much? Maybe just because the mushroom isn't doing a lot of damage. How much damage are they doing? What's their DPS? 36. And what are the other characters doing? 74. What are you, nuts? What are you, nuts, mage? Maybe the mage is just overshadowing them. How much damage were they doing before the buff? 34.5. So they went up by like 1.5 DPS. I guess that makes sense. The battles are only lasting long enough for them to revive. Well, they should revive twice, right? I guess they need to take damage at first, and it takes 2.5 seconds for them to even start taking damage. And they need to get hit enough to die. And there is a tank in the party. So that's probably why this is happening. Anyway, how are you so nonchalant? About what? You look like an organized guy. I like to think I'm pretty organized. All right, so this change alone didn't really help too much. I guess they start the battle with a lower cooldown. Although, so we probably need to bring their DPS more in line with what the rogue is doing. Or maybe even higher because they're supposed to die faster. Maybe we should lower their life even more. All adventure data. Let's go take a look at the mushroom character. Their life value right now is set to 80%. Yeah, I think we should set this to like 65%. I wonder if that would make them stronger. Hmm. Dying blow. Well, let's just run it. Let's see what happens. This is before the buff. This is after the buff. After changing revival time from 10s to 5s and buffing revival life from 10% to 25%. So there's that change. Now what we're doing is we are, after changing Mushy's max life from 80% to 65%. So this might actually buff them, despite that it doesn't sound like a buff. Because this whole character is based around dying. And now they'll be able to die faster. How gruesome. Poor little mushroom character. Okay, so what did this do? Their old DPS was 35.9. Their new DPS is essentially the same, 36. So if it did buff them, it buffed them very, very slightly. Their old remaining health, or their average remaining health has dropped now, which is expected. It went from 21% down to 15%. Okay, well, this is the frustration about balancing these things, is that every little thing you change has a ripple effect. So out of curiosity, what if we gutted preparedness? What would that do? Like, is this even having an effect? You should probably make sure each skill is pretty good. So I'm not even gonna write down that. Well, maybe I should. Fine, let's copy this. And let's rerun this. Paste this here. So this is... Or wait, did I already paste it there? Hold your horses. Oh, no, I see. I moved the line. There it is. Okay, so now removing preparedness. Their damage, whoa, their damage like way dropped. 21.3. So let's just copy this stuff. Yeah, the more attacks this thing gets, the better. I wonder if we swap that out for that other skill that they have. Improved fungal growth. Improved fungal spread. Yeah, how much damage would that make it do? Improved fungal spread. Maybe Dying Blow should have multiple levels. I don't know. All right, their DPS went up, but not by such a significant amount. I guess this truly does depend on which other characters you have in your party. But the mage is going bonkers over there. Their max DPS is like 110. No one else is coming anywhere close to that. I think this means the mage is overpowered. Because, yeah, once they have all of their abilities, they start spamming them like crazy. Can we get anywhere? Okay, maybe... I don't like any of what I'm doing right now. Let's get Storm Intensity and Echo Strike. And set this to 2 and 1. Do they come anywhere close to the level when they don't have those extra abilities? It might be that mental swiftness is too powerful and people are undervaluing this because they don't understand how this works. I don't blame them for it. There's only so much information you get across for a casual game like this. So the mage's DPS is still pretty high. Average is 71 and it was 76. Interesting. I think we need to lower the chance on mental swiftness. That's what's causing these spikes, going from 47 up to 104. If we just cut out mental swiftness as a skill, we said chance to activate is like 2% instead of 20%, which doesn't totally cut it out. But then they won't use their abilities as quickly, and that's what's causing the variance that they have. So now what I'm expecting is for every one of those numbers to, well, not everyone, the average to drop and the variance to decrease. So did that happen? Yes, both of those happened. So the average went down by 13, and now the variance is not 47 to 100, it's 40 to 76. HTML, would be cool if you could run these simulations without rebuilding or restarting. Yeah. We need to be able to change the adventure data at runtime. And normally what we've done in the past has been like make one adventurer and then balance them. But this time around, I made 3 adventurers and now we have to balance all of them. But I'm realizing that maybe some of the existing ones are also kind of bad. But yeah, I think that would be a good change. Problem is, once we're done with this pass, we're probably not going to do another pass for a very long time. But I should write that down. File an issue to get the battle simulator to work completely at runtime so that we can tweak numbers and not have to rebuild. Hey, Goose. All right, well, we still haven't figured out how to make the mushroom better. Like, the mage is still super overshadowing everybody. And yes, a big component of it is mental swiftness, which we should probably, at least without even thinking any more about this, just nerf it to like 15%. Or change the cooldown speed. It can still be at 20% and just lower the cooldown bonus by 25% instead of 50%. These are pretty big changes, though. Nerfing something by like half of its efficacy. And it might affect the beginning of game balance, such that now the mage is like a slightly worse character. So yeah, that just by doing that, their DPS dropped from 76 down to... Oh, wait, no, that's not the comparison. Here it is. Wait, what? Their DPS went up? Oh, right, because I'd cut out mental switches entirely. I guess I didn't have a baseline for this. Okay, so here it is with... This is with 25% mental swiftness. Paste. And then here it was with the original 50%. I want to see how much that changes their DPS by. Man. It's 70. So it dropped it by about 10%. Pretty interesting. I think from a fun perspective, I'd rather do this the other way around. I'd rather let you have it feel like the spells are being cast very quickly, but that it happens less frequently. So I think we would do it that this is a 50% speed up and this is just 15% chance. 50% haste, 15% chance. And this was a 20% chance. And this was a 20% chance. And this is the stats that we get now. Sneeze. 68. It like barely lowers anything. Oh my goodness. I guess it's different when you only have 2 skills anyway. All right, well, whatever. Let's ignore that for now. Let's go back to the mushroom character. So the mushroom sucks. And I don't know if any of their skills are going to make them better. We haven't tested close call. While less than 25% health, your power is increased. What if we just put those abilities on here then? So instead of this, what if we had close call? I feel like everything revolves around dying blow. Okay, so close call instead of preparedness. Whoops. Man, Suai Godot has to take the focus repeatedly. It's another reason to get this stuff working just at runtime. This is just terrible. Why are you such a bad character? Also, is that been lowercase the whole time? Did I just never notice that? Oh, wow, it is. Huh. Well, that's a bug I didn't expect to find. And actually, it's because this thing pointed it out to me. It highlighted that and said you should maybe change that. Huh. I don't know how I hadn't seen that. But that's an easy bug to fix. Done. So yeah, this character's just bad. Just bad all around. I think we need to make them do like way more damage. And we can do that very easily. We can just buff this to like 1.9. There's going to be some turning point where this becomes untenable. So mushroom power from 1.5 to 1.9. I'll be right back. Okay. Did it run? What even just happened? Oh. Oh, it doesn't even start until I click cancel on that? Oh, man. All right. So mushroom power changed, and now we're doing a little bit more damage. What does it show up as in the stat thing? Power 91. Yeah, no one has anywhere close to that amount. I think their fortitude should just be 0. Oh, it's basically nothing. 1% damage reduction is might as well be 0%. So what does it say Spore Cloud does? 228 damage. Who has anything that's even close to that? 70 damage? Okay, so this definitely sounds like a lot of damage. So this is more in line with what we want. We're getting there. We just haven't found the combination of abilities. I also haven't tried Frenzy or Invigorate. And then increasing the power of your allies for 5 seconds could be crazy. Especially if this thing dies a lot. We should probably keep track of how many times it dies. But yeah, average party DPS is 177. If I were to try Invigorate, it's possible that this thing dying is better than it living. So now what it's going to do is going to buff all allies by 40% power when it dies. And it's going to last for 5 seconds, which is how long the mushroom is dead for before reviving again. I don't know how I did the cooldown on these things. But now the party DPS, oh, it's actually still kind of the same. But it should have buffed the individual characters. Maybe, okay, maybe the problem is that they're in the battle with the warrior. I should probably just watch one of these battles play out. Let's just go do that. So I'll just save this. And we'll go turn off the battle simulator. I think I know what's happening. I think the warrior is taunting. So the mushroom isn't even dying until like 7 or 8 seconds into the battle. And then that's it. They pretty much don't have any time to revive after that. So now we load up the save file. And we send them into the same battle we've been doing. So it was rogue, mage, warrior, mushroom. And we put them over here. And now we watch the mushroom. So I'm guessing it doesn't die for like 7 seconds or so. It still hasn't died. Now this thing is taunting, so it's probably not going to take any real damage. Then the next wave starts. It didn't die at all. So it never used Invigorate. Okay, this is something I didn't really think about. If the whole character is based around dying and they just never die, then they're kind of useless. But if they die, then it means that one of your other party members would also probably be dying. So maybe they need more recoil damage? Also, didn't I see a problem in that? Didn't it take... Hang on, let me look at this on YouTube. I think it took 17 damage twice and shouldn't have. Good, this is already muted. Because it was right after the taunt that it happened. Oh, yeah, they're taunted. Now it did an attack, so it took 17 damage right there. And then it took another 17 for some reason. Why? Let me see what's going on here. Okay, so it attacks. What does it hit? I don't even know what it hit. Oh, there it is. So it hits the one in the middle for 228. That kills it, which causes it to spread to something else, and then it damages itself again. Oh, I think that's what's going on. I don't think that was ever intended, but I don't actually remember. What does it say in the text here? It says use it again. Use it again would imply that it's going to damage himself again, which is probably bad. Hey, Campbell Soup. Because that means that if you use this on 9 enemies, you would do 90% damage to yourself. Oh, man. Oh, none of this is good. None of it. Okay, out of curiosity, what happens when we send them into the volcano? Do they just kill everything at once? All right, they have a 7-second cooldown. They would have attacked 2 of these things at once. Okay, so we need to lower the cooldown. So we put points into this. And now we see. Now they should use it after 1 second of entering the battle. This is stupid. This is an impossible to balance character. It's an impossible task. It can't be done. Okay. So, here are the problems I saw. Character is based around dying. But either they don't die because your party is powerful or has tanks/healers, or they would die and it means that your whole party is at risk. Also, technically, doesn't this mean you could just leave this character at like level 2 and just use Invigorate? I guess you don't get Invigorate at level 2. I was going to say that might actually have been the best strategy, is purposely leave them under leveled so that they die. All right, there are some other things we could do here. If we wanted to make this more predictable, we could say something like Mushy is untargetable by enemies, but takes like 10%, like loses 10% health per second. So basically, like, it will die after 10 seconds. And it'll be predictable. You can't change this schedule. I don't like this. For one, it means that they're invulnerable. You'd have to say, I guess, well, they have allies. Although, what's the problem? What's a high-level thing we're trying to do? High-level options here. Make it more predictable when they'll die. Make them do more damage while alive. I like this idea of something that sort of cycles itself a bunch. So I wanted it to be based around dying and then reviving. I like that idea. It's just, it's not working that well. Because, yeah, what happens if they don't die? Yeah, they either don't die or they die constantly. I guess you want them to die constantly, though. I just don't have yeah, I don't know what to do. All these skills that we made, and for what? Okay, well, what if we just changed how revive works? So like every time you die, come back with X% less life. Well, come back with X% life. X decreases on each death. How about they level up after they've died a number of times? Not sure of all the mechanics. I apologize if that's that. Yeah, it wouldn't really make sense in this case. They could become more powerful within a certain battle, but the very issue that we're encountering here is, let's say a battle lasts like 15 seconds. And let's say their revive timer was 7 seconds. It's like they might die once and maybe they don't even hit the revive time. So it's like the duration of the battle really matters if you're going to have a long timer for anything. So then you're like, okay, well, let's lower this to 3 seconds. Now they die at the 8-second mark and then come back at 11 seconds to fight for 4 seconds more. So if they ever died again, the low timer doesn't even really matter. It's just going to die once. And that's where I was saying, like, we just make it more predictable when they die, make them die more often. So this idea is kind of interesting. We could say that when they die, they just immediately come back to life. And it's like they're at 100% life. So revive at 100% life, and then revive at 75% life, and then revive at 50% life, and then 25%, and then no more revives. We could say something like that. And then we could just say the cooldown is 1 second. So now they could die. If they die in the first 2 seconds of the battle, they'll just come back pretty much immediately. And they won't have as much life. So they'll probably die again, and then they'll come back with even less life. And then each level, we could change how this works. So level 1 could be like minus 25% life per death. Level 2 could be minus 15% life per death. And level 3 could be minus 5% life per death. So for really long fights, this could actually be pretty interesting because you'd be at 100%, then 95%, and so on and so forth until it's finally at 5% and then no more revives. But again, this is based on them dying pretty much all the time. So then it makes me ask myself, what's the point of having them die if it's so unpredictable? Why not just give them the buffs and not base their whole class around dying? And it's like, well, then it's just the same as every other character. That's the problem. So yeah, I guess it's flavor reasons. But yeah, drastically lowering the cooldown would certainly help. Hey, Nature Snake. When Mushy taunts the enemy when it's alive, it hits when alive, would make it more predictable and more of an asset in the party. So it's like a glass cannon tank. I wonder if that's existed in games before. Because the whole point of a tank is that they're able to take hits. But yeah, that would be kind of interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Hey, WebDev, what about extending the revive timer? You mean making it take longer? Because that's the problem we're hitting already, is that they're just not reviving very many times. Yeah, this is really interesting. So they're like a tank and a glass cannon. So maybe it's like after reviving, they will take the next hit. Or maybe it's like a 50% chance more likely to be hit at all times. And you'd be like, why would I want this? But it's like, well, then you die. And then the death stuff kicks in. So is there even a point in giving them abilities while they're alive? First spore cloud used in battle happens sooner. That one's decent. Proves damage. Okay, that's definitely good. After dying, chance to use on another enemy. Okay, so a lot of these are still valuable. Yeah, I think we could just... I think Snake's onto something here. And we just need to figure out how exactly this is going to work. Because I know that the way this was phrased is the enemy it hits is going to get taunted. We could just make it so that this character has an increased chance of being hit. Well, I don't know where we'd write that. But I guess we should figure out the mechanic first. So ideas. Yeah, the enemy it hits gets taunted onto Mushy. It has a higher chance, I guess not it, Mushy has a higher chance of being hit at all times. I guess, no, I guess it's pretty much like using a taunt ability. Yeah, I kind of like this idea. I don't even know how we would code this. I think Zombie Link does this, doesn't it? Will redirect attack. Yeah, chance to redirect. So we could just put a buff on Mushy and call it the Mushy buff, and chance to redirect is just always 50% or something. That could be kind of interesting. Let's do that. Zombie Link percent. Okay. Does the mushroom already have a buff that we can just use for this? I guess Heart of the Forest could potentially work. Yeah, let's just code it in there for now. So we're gonna put this over here. And we're just gonna say there's a 50% chance that this thing gets attacked. And then let's run this. Yeah. So now the mushroom is gonna get targeted down like super fast. Even when they're in a party. So we're gonna go back to here with our typical classes: mage, rogue, warrior, and mushroom. And now the mushroom will probably get killed. Yes. And even when the warrior is taunting, they're still going to get targeted down pretty fast. And then they should come back to life. Yeah, nice. And then they get targeted down again. Okay, this is really interesting. This is a very, very cool idea. So I like this. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to add that in. So skill changes so the mushroom always has a revive ability. Make an ability that, or make something say that that Mushy has a plus X% chance of being hit. This kind of makes him a tank, especially with the reviving. It's like the weirdest kind of tank. I truly don't think I've seen this in another game before. There's a character that is meant to be hit, but is incredibly fragile and revives constantly and does a ton of damage. Like I've seen all kinds of tanking in other games. The most typical one is just a tank that like taunts and mitigates damage. And I've seen like dodge tanking, lifesteal tanking, and sort of probably all other sorts of things. But yeah, not one that's revive tanking. Because it wouldn't be fun if you're manually controlling a character if your character died all the time. It's like getting stunned every 3 seconds. It's just not fun in video games. But when you're not controlling the character, it's a very interesting mechanic. Okay, love this. So then how do we change revive? Because yeah, revive can't have a super long cooldown. It's pretty much what I'm realizing. Wouldn't be mushroom for 2 of those in a party? What, Zach? Hey, Boomer. Oh, it wouldn't be mushroom. Okay, got it. Sorry, I thought the way I interpreted it originally was that what if you had 2 of these in a party? And I was going to say that's not possible in the game, at least. Okay, so how do we change revive now that the mushroom will die? And we could say, I think it needs a lower cooldown for sure. And probably a very low one. So we just change Heart of the Forest again and make it be like a 1 second cooldown. Let's see what that looks like. Remember, we only have level 1 of this thing. Although, we just need to know not to put points into it. And it'll revive us with 25% life. So we load, we put our party members into the battle. This. Go over to here. So now the character's going to die pretty quickly because they'll get targeted all the time. And then after only 1 second, they'll come back to life. Okay, definitely don't want to make it faster than 1 second because they just spring back up to life. Oh, that didn't even work. They don't have a life bar right now. Okay, so then I've violated some animation speed thing. How long does a death animation take in this game? Death animation name. We have what, 4 frames? And what's the speed? Animation FPS? 5. So 5 FPS. And it's 4 frames. So it's going to take 0.8 seconds to die. But then doesn't something else happen? We fade out a life bar or something? I think we do. Yeah, so when that's done, we call fade out. Fade out takes another whole second. So that's our problem. We need to stop this when you revive. Mushroom jokes. Do we have revive here? We do. So shouldn't there be a tween that gets cleaned up? There should be. And it isn't. We just have this tween here. So we would save this as like a life fade out tween and then just kill it. Do we save any other tweens already? No, we don't. Okay, well, let's just do that. Private tween question mark life bar. It's not even life bar, is it? What's fading out here? The whole entity? Here, it's just the life bar. Yeah. So we want a life bar fade tween. Fade out tween. And then we put this down here. Cannot convert from... Oh, that's probably just I need to rename that. Wait, what? Why is that a problem? Oh, what? I thought I renamed this. Oh, I renamed the life bar. Oh, whoops. Okay, my bad. And then if this thing exists, when you revive, we kill it. All right, that should fix that. So now there shouldn't be a ghost life bar. It exists. They have life. It just doesn't render. And now it should render. So let's try the same thing we had. We don't even need to throw them all into a battle. We can just throw in, let's say, the warrior and the mushroom. The mushroom should die pretty fast. Yep. And then after a second, they pop back up. Yeah, so 1 second is probably too fast. Because it's hard to even register that they're dead. So I think we set it to a minimum of 2. And then I think we can work with this as our baseline and figure out what reviving should actually be. I kind of like the idea of reviving with less and less life. Like, you're not an immortal being. Well, I guess you're not immortal if you're dying in the first place, but you're not like infinitely powerful. You will eventually die for good. Yeah, nice. This looks a lot better. And then we just revive it. Yeah. This is great. Okay. And then I think I like the idea of reviving with less and less life each time. Where did I write that down? Where did I write that down? This thing. What's the half-life? I'm going to carbon date this mushroom. So lower cooldown. 2 seconds is good to accommodate the player registering that they died and the animations. Death is 0.8 seconds. Life bar fade out is 1 second. So 1.8 seconds of animation. 0.2 seconds of nothing. Revive. And then lower life each time they come back. We could modify both of these cooldowns, I guess. But we could say that thing that I had earlier here. Where is it? The thing about X%. Every time you die, come back with X% life. X decreases on each death. We could also tweak the cooldown a bit. So level 0, assuming we don't tweak the cooldown, you'd come back with I guess it's, I guess we say, how do we even write this? Every time you die, come back with X% life. X, I guess, starts at 100 and decreases on each death. Yeah, we'd have to say it like that. So anyway, X would be, all right, I'll just say decreases by Y on each death. So Y would be like 50% or something. And then we probably want 3 levels of this. So then 40%. So what would this mean? This means 100%, 50%, and then done. 40% would be 100%, 60%, 20%, and then done. 30, 40. So each one's giving you one more revive. And then we set this to, I guess, 20. So we go 100, 80, 60, 40, 20. Then you're done. So 5 revives. Yeah. 60, 40, 20. I think that might be it. And then if we want to, we could change the cooldown, but I think that'd be too much text. And even if we did change the cooldown should end at 2 seconds. So level 3 would be 2 seconds. Levels in between, so I don't know, 3 seconds, and it like slowly goes down like that. 2.4 seconds or something. We could just actually use thirds here. Would you care? Would you feel that? I don't think so. I don't think we should do that. I'm going to just X that out. Okay. So we have the code changes here are not hard to do. It's just I don't want to do them unless we're certain that this is how we're going to keep this. So let's read the totality of the changes that I had written down here. Make something say that they have an X% chance of being hit. Make Heart of the Forest an innate ability. This needs to be rephrased to something like this. Worst case scenarios, it just makes battles slow and annoying. I mean, that's a pretty bad worst case scenario, right? Yeah, we don't have to worry about it for now, at least. Every time you die, come back with X% life. X starts at 100 and decreases by Y on each death. And then let's put the levels that I had here. There we go. Merge fungal spread and improved fungal spread into one non-innate ability. The other thing we could potentially do here, which I think is maybe a bad precedent to set, but we could just have 4 innate skills. And actually, if we did that, then maybe we could change other characters. Oh, well, the problem with having 4, I guess, is it increases the art burden. Because in order to have 4 skills, you need 4 icons. Okay, then no, let's try not to do that if we can. So Spore Cloud has to stay. Heart of the Forest is going to be an innate, and fungal spread's going to move. Fungal spread moving means we need to put Heart of the Forest needs to also say that you will be hit more often. How the net extra life ramps. Not sure if that's ideal scaling. 150, 180, 220, 300. You're just summing up these numbers. So I don't know what the best scaling would be for this, but I don't think these actual numbers matter too much because the mushroom character has, I think, 60% of the base life to begin with. So let's say a rogue has 100 life at level 2. The mushroom would have 60 life. And then if you're doing 50% of 60 life, you only have 30 life. So compared to an adventurer that has 100 life to begin with and can take, 10 hits of 10 life each, this can take 3 hits of 10 life each. So it might seem like, okay, that's a whole lot of life spread over many different revivals, but it's pretty minimal, I think. Now, granted, that's why we still need to test this. Like that's why we need to do the balance testing in the first place. Maybe this is super overpowered and I'm just not realizing it. But yeah, the bigger problem we have right now is at least to figure out how we merge these skills. And Heart of the Forest is going to have a lot of text. Or no, yeah, just have a lot of text. But it's too, oh man, I don't know how to do this. I want to just have 4 innate abilities. I don't even know if something stops us from having 4, except for that we have no precedent of this. Yeah, I think if we just added another one in here, what would happen? Let's just try it out. Let's give them one more ability, ability ID dot quick strike. So now they're like a rogue. What happens when we load up the game? Does it just show all 4 there and give them the ability? Also, wouldn't quick strike do like 1 billion damage on this character? No, it doesn't show them all. Oh, that's curious why it doesn't show them all. Maybe the skill thing, adventurer pain. Maybe this only tries getting known skill icons. Oh, I see. I see how this works. We're fetching the amount from the adventurer panel. And the adventurer panel knows that we only have 3 of these here. We could just dynamically populate these like we do for the other skills. There wouldn't be an issue then. Yeah. Still, I don't think it's probably worth doing that. Well, I don't know how else we would get this to work. We just have too many abilities. Like they have Spore Cloud. This is active ability, deals damage. This is the current set. We have what the regeneration thing. Passive regenerates to 100% at the end of battle. And we have fungal spread. When killing an enemy, use Spore Cloud again on another enemy. And what we need is this Heart of the Forest, which is like revive with revive when getting hit. Actually, I guess we technically don't need this to be an innate ability. It could just be your first ability, although you'd always be getting it. And if there's something you're always getting, then I don't want you to have to make that choice of like, why would I forego this? Plus, it'd also just feel like, oh, my first skill point is dog-eared for this. I would never get something else. Then again, maybe you're not dying. Maybe, but then how would you not die? No, you pretty much have to die. That's the whole point of this character. So it should be an innate ability. Yeah. So anyway, revive and getting, or one revive every so often. And then we need to cram in the mushy gets hit 50% more often than a regular character. Where does that go? We could say that it's like regeneration has an upside and a downside. That's not really a downside. We can call it something other than regeneration. It could be something like resilience. I could say at the end of the battle you restore to full, but enemies hate mushrooms and will try to kill you. Obviously, not that wording, but that effect. Well, either Heart of the Forest or regeneration, and I think Heart of the Forest will have enough text. There is one more option, which is to allow for 4 innate abilities. This is an option that's probably the most attractive in terms of player experience, just being able to understand at a glance what these things do. Like when you read the Rogue, there's just a couple lines of text for each of these. When you read the Paladin, like these are very long skills. And just to understand what they do takes a decent amount. I mean, players aren't really struggling with that. It's just a lot to read. Same thing, like the mage is pretty straightforward, do some damage and stuff. So if we had a really long tooltip for one of these, and they're already 3 lines, 4 lines, 3 lines, so cramming in some more stuff. Yeah, I think I like the idea of just having 1 extra skill on this character. If we didn't do that, though, it would go into Heart of the Forest. I think we'll just, yeah, here's my conclusion, I think. Put it in Heart of the Forest for now. Then consider splitting it to its own innate ability eventually. Well, she will be attacked. How do we write this for the Witch Doctor? Your zombies gain a chance to take an attack for an ally. She has a higher chance than normal of being targeted. This ability overrides how taunt works, though. So what we could do is we could make it so that when another character is taunting, this thing doesn't take the hit. I could write that as a to-do item in there. Where's the redirect? Oh, it's in the buff. To do, consider having this be 0% when an ally is taunting. There's only one ally that can even taunt, right? No, zombies can too. Oh, you have two characters you want to have die. Zombies with Bursting Horde and Mushy with literally anything. That's actually not totally true, but just Mushy in general due to all the death synergies. Also, I wonder if this character needs to damage himself anymore. Maybe Spore Cloud could take this. Oh, it's kind of weird to have an active ability that has a passive effect listed. But it says coat an enemy in spores that do damage, but then also you damage yourself. It could be that you just stop damaging yourself. In fact, I think that makes the most sense. But it, well, like I said, it doesn't make sense. Imagine you had something like Fireball and it said deal 5 damage and then it said, oh, and also you get hit more often for some reason. I don't know. I don't know what that reason would be or why that should go here, but maybe we can find a way to make it make sense. I guess if we did it the way that Nature Snake has suggested, it could be Spore Cloud, deal 5 damage. And then every time this is used, your chance to be attacked goes up until you die. So like one usage would give you plus 10% chance to be attacked. I feel like this is too complicated. I think just setting it to a base 50% chance you get attacked is fine. It came from the anime. I think someone in chat suggested it, so I don't know what their motivation was. But I've never heard of that anime. I'm not an anime fan. Yeah, I don't know about this. So Spore Cloud, coat an enemy in fast-acting spores for 48 damage. And then we say beneath it. No, it doesn't make sense to put it there. But I think we can get rid of the self-damaging at least. Get rid of the self-damaging on Spore Cloud. I don't know, non-innate ability. Rename the original Heart of the Forest to improved Heart of the Forest. I'm just going to make a 4th innate ability. Let's just go do it. So we make another one of these things. And then when you hide this, it should reflow this container, right? Yeah, it does. Okay, so skill icon 4. Adventurer, pain. So we get all of these. And then at some point here, we get ability by index of selected adventurer. This is not guaranteed now to return this. What does this do? Oh god, this won't work at all. Oh man. There's no concept of innate abilities. There's just a concept of the first 3 abilities. And since we followed this paradigm the whole time, they happen to be innate abilities. So we need to manifest whether or not they're innate. Probably. Does this know that? No, it doesn't know that. And how would we get it to know that? All adventurer data. Ability IDs. Where does this get used? Create from ability IDs. Go through all of them and make an ability. Yeah, we could just say here that it's innate, I guess. Oh, thanks for the bits, Acker. Lunch done. I'm off. Happy coding. All right, thanks for dropping in. I hope you have a good time with whatever's going on, presumably work. Is this the only place where we do this, I wonder? Adventurer, create adventurer, create from ability IDs. So every time we call create from ability IDs, it seems to be that we are using their innate abilities. Because what else would we even have for this? We wouldn't. There's skill table data, yeah. Number of innate abilities. Yeah, we could do that too, I suppose. Although I guess it's known just by the length of this array. Yeah. So I think just create from ability IDs is all we need to do. Whenever we make an ability using these, we just say that this thing is innate. So we can just do public bool is innate. Get set equals, what's the default? I guess false. Base ability. Okay, then when we make this an abilities component, we call create ability. That clones an ability, which then we set whether or not it's innate. Yeah. And then when we go through these, get ability by index. The only reason this existed is to get innate abilities, which now we don't need to do. In fact, right? That's all we ever did with this. On hover ability. Get ability by index of selected adventure. This is bizarre. Why was this done here? Should it set it like it sets the level? No, because I think that the way base ability is working is we're creating one ability of each type at the very beginning, but what might be innate on one character might not be innate on another character. We don't have that case in the code right now where we're sharing abilities other than attacks on enemies, and innate abilities shouldn't matter there. So it probably wouldn't make much of a difference. But I think this is technically correct. Get ability by index of selected adventurer. Okay, so yeah, why is this needed here? If you're hovering over an ability, it means that this character has that ability. So why are we checking to see if they have it still? That makes no sense, right? Oh, because this isn't a button. Oh, right. Okay. That's kind of not great, I think. Why is this not just an ability ID? Yeah, why did we do things this way? Oh, man. Yeah, okay, I don't know. I think this can just be an ID. Oh, it's because when we made these things, they're not even aware of what the ability ID should be. Hmm. Okay, well, to be honest, technically, this is still fine. Yeah, it is technically still fine. It's that this stuff is not fine anymore. So it's not go through the number of these. We need to know how many innate abilities they have, which means we need to know which character is selected. And this doesn't know that. So this is probably a bad way of doing things. We should probably set these up dynamically. They're just texture rectangles that set a bunch of properties on them. I wonder what properties are even overridden. Can't you filter by that? Expand non-default. Oh, we set a shader on them as well? Okay, I guess setting them through the editor is fine. Although we could just make them scenes that we instantiate. So they're innate skill icons. And they just look like this and we just export it to a scene. That's what probably makes the most sense. export the innate skill icons to their own scene, then instantiate them when selecting a character, and then change hover ability to take in an ability ID. Okay, this sounds reasonable. So let's save as scene. Now we just got to figure out where this should go. UI. I mean, it probably should go in UI, but where did we save this already? Why is it not showing me? Did it ever work like this? Show in file system. Panels. Okay, I'm going to put this in UI. UI, and then I guess I'll just make a new directory here called skills. And we'll call this innate skill icon. So then delete all of this stuff, I guess. Then open up innate skill icon and rename it to innate skill icon. So we'll need to set its texture correctly, which should be pretty easy to do. And then in here, rather than doing any of this stuff, we just delete it all. And then known skill icons is going to go away. Do we even need to save these? Known skills. Okay, that we need. But known skill icons, we probably don't. We can also change it to innate skills. I think probably we rename it to innate skills. Where is it? Yeah, innate skills. So let's delete known skills. This will be called innate skills container. Is it a container? Yes. Sounds good. And then this will be innate skill icons. Okay, so now we got to go fix all of this stuff. So how do we set up buttons right now? I think there's a skill table in here and it knows to delete itself. That seems to be the case. Yeah, that seems to be the case. So what does init do? Clear everything? Yeah, it clears everything. Okay, so we want to do the same thing over here too. We want to go to known, or no, I renamed it, innate skills container dot get children. So for each, which is a node in that, node.queue free. Then we recreate them all. So we're going to go to scene paths and UI slash, put this in here somewhere. What is this called? Innate skill icon. Innate skill icon. Okay. So we go instantiate one of those. Put that here for now. Scene paths dot. Do we do this anywhere else? Nope. So let's put that there. This is going to be an innate. Actually, this is going to be a texture rectangle. What am I talking about? Innate skill icon. Okay, we want to do this for however many innate abilities you have. For each ability ID in innate abilities, we have the ability as an index here. This is where I'm doing things, I think, a little bit weirdly. This function probably doesn't need to exist. Get ability by index of selected adventurer. We could probably just say get all the innate abilities and trust that the order is going to be the same. So I'll just write it to do here saying at the end of all of this, see if we can delete this. All right, so adventurer data innate abilities is not called that. It's called, actually, I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Ability IDs. Okay, yeah, so those are innate. So we should probably rename that too. To do, probably rename adventurer data.this to innate ability IDs. But anyway, here are the innate ones that we have. And what we want to do is we want to make an icon for each of them. We want to set its texture correctly, which is what we do here. Now we need an ability for this. The ability would have come from the abilities component. So that's where this is. And now why is that a problem? There is a get here. Why is that failing? Cannot implicitly convert ability data. Oh, okay, fine. That's not how we do this then. We need the abilities component. Is this already here? No, it's not. Yeah, we don't have it. Why? How could we not have it? How is that possible? Do we never use this anywhere? Oh wait, it's right here. Oh, well then just bump this up. Okay, now get that ability. Get ability. This should take in an ability ID. It does. Converting null, literal, or possible null value to non-null type. What? Because it's going to return null. It shouldn't be possible for it to return null now. So let's put an exclamation mark. Then we get this. How many hours I am to the next rich redeem and realize missing part of mornings is taking so many potential points. I should just lower. I'll change up my channel rewards again. Change channel rewards again, just for fun. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin has the points for it. What a waste. Okay, so all of these are innate, so we don't need add innate skill icon anymore. Then their mouse entered and exited, we would set up here. And we can just do it this way. We don't need an index here anymore. This will just take in the ability ID. So now this can be changed to ability ID, delete all of that, and delete the period here. So now this stuff is gone. This probably isn't needed. We don't even need to save these, I guess. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, I think that's it. Let's try it out. Let's see. By doing this, we're forcing Quickie Joe to make one more icon. He's going to hate me. Okay, the camera initialized at a weird position, which probably means it's broke. It did. Known skills not found. Did I forget to save? I didn't forget to save? What's looking for this? Oh, I just never renamed innate skills. Oh, I renamed the variable. I didn't rename the search path. Okay, that's fine. That's easy. In my mind, you two are enemies competing for first. Okay, so we broke everything. Pretty reasonable. Why did we? Oh, I never added it. That's why. Just being a little bit dumb there. Okay, so now can we select this and have 4 abilities? Oh my goodness, we can. And do we actually have quick strike if we go into a battle? We should see the mushroom attacking very fast and for a lot of damage. Yeah. And then every 7 seconds is going to do its spore cloud. Nice. Wow. Well, that was cool. That was pretty easy. So now we need to probably delete this stuff because I don't think anything's using it. Yeah. This can just be gone. There's get ability by index though too. We can probably delete that. Get ability by index. Yeah, that's not needed. Thank goodness too. That made no sense. But then there's one other thing that I had written down as a to-do item. Where's that? Probably rename ability IDs to innate ability IDs. Yeah, I think that's pretty reasonable. Right, let's look at it when we manifest adventurers here. We say ability IDs and then skill table data. Yeah, I think let's rename this. So innate ability IDs. That would have renamed like everything. Okay. So I'm going to need to modify the known or the art request at some point. Modify art request to mention that Mushy has a 4th innate ability. Oh my goodness. All right. let's let's probably take a break. It's been 2 hours. I think this has been going very well. And I think the only thing I'm a little hesitant about is like, let's say all we had done for this is we were just like, you know what, let's just do power times equal 3. Okay, the character's balanced. Like, people probably wouldn't have cared too much. We're putting a lot of effort into something that will hopefully be appreciated, but probably a sliver of the player base is actually going to care. And they won't know that this character is ever what it used to be. But you'll all know. All right, I'm going to go take a break. Is it jump time? It's jump time. Okay, let's stand up. So I just saw on my break something very, very interesting. Oh, hang on a second. Something's vibrating. Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't getting a phone call. Hang on a second. I knocked over my keyboard. Yeah, close the game. So I want to show you something, but let me make sure nothing falls off my desk as I'm raising this. So far, so good. Okay, that's probably good enough. Yeah, check this out. Never seen this before for Skeleseller. Concurrent players, 104. So I was like, okay, this must be a video, right? So I searched for Skeleseller, and wouldn't you know it, Idle Cub, who's got 70,000 subscribers, just covered Skeleseller. I don't think I reached out to them. So that's pretty cool. I definitely want to watch this video and see how they enjoyed it. But that's very, very helpful. Because look, number of people who claim the game today is at 185, and this does not update in real time. So it might be even higher than that. Also, the median playtime went up again. This was yesterday that it went up, but it's at an hour and 31 minutes now. So like, yeah, the number of people who made it to 2 hours, it's actually a third of the people who play the game play for at least 2 hours. That's pretty crazy. So things are going a little better on the marketing front. I'm going to write this down for later. Later, watch Idle Cub's video on Skeleseller. Yeah, super cool. So that's going to bring a lot more eyes onto the game. I actually wonder if I should keep Steam chat open as a result of this. Has anyone said anything? I don't know if the chat history shows here, so I'll just keep this tab open. Actually, can someone check that really fast? If you go to this URL, do you see my message that says hi right there? Or is it only for messages that show up afterward? Has watched later playlist. Well, if it's not on my to-do list, I'm not going to remember to check my YouTube playlist. And you see it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yeah, so then probably no one has chatted there. I don't expect people to. In fact, I don't ever do this. I don't go to someone's Steam page and be like, let me talk to the person who's probably making the game right now. But it does say 70 viewers, which does not mean that many people are watching the stream, but probably just that 70 are on the Steam page right now. So it really goes to show you how much influencer marketing helps. So thank you to any Idle Cub fans out there for watching the video. And me too, it's from Idle Cub. Oh no, cool. Yeah. All right, so then some people are actually watching this. Yeah, so we're working on the game right now. For anyone who's here, just coming in from any external source actually, we have made 3 new adventurers that are going to be in the launch version of the game. And we were working on balancing them. And in trying to balance them, we needed to make it so that there could be 4 innate skills for characters instead of just 3. Hey, Track. Biggest shirt fan, at least. And thank you. This is one of the newer ones that I've gotten. Okay, so we need to check this in. We need to make these changes to the mushroom character, and then we need to see if they're balanced after doing this. So this process is going to take a good chunk of time, I think. So this part we're done with. This is... yeah. 3 abilities, synergize with dying. Yeah, this is all the problem stuff. So are we done with these things that we have? Put it in Heart of the Forest for now. Consider splitting. So we did end up splitting it. I think that's fine. What else do we have here? I had something else written here about what we wanted to do. Yeah, this is all done. Okay, let's go check that in then. Wow, exciting day. So by the way, this is what Brainoid Games had told me about. And I'm assuming that every YouTuber who cares about a certain niche genre has some ingestion process for that genre of games. But still, it was like reach out to smaller YouTubers at first and then kind of prime the pump. And again, no idea how Idle Cub found out about the game. I'll have to ask. But it's super cool. I'm very excited to watch that video. Okay, so this stuff is good. Let's check this in. And let's keep going through these changes. This is innate skill icon, sounds fine. This is innate. I think that's pretty clear. Close call is its own change. We'll have to check in. This we're going to ignore. This we're going to ignore. This we're going to keep. And we need to We need to remove quick strike from the mushroom character. There we go. I don't think I'd play this game anytime soon, but I sure copy UI changes for my VS Code from UI. That's totally fine. Yeah. Also, I've got some shorts on that if you want to take a look. I don't make many shorts. So I have, what, 7? I have 11. But anyway, I'll link this in through Steam there. The ones you might care about would be this one, move your command palette, improve your searching, and this, improve your layout quickly and easily. So all the ones sort of toward the initial parts of me making these shorts. The other ones might be interesting to you too. They're mostly just like tech suggestions and little bits of help. Okay, so this I want to keep. This I don't want just yet. This is the rebalancing stuff. Oh, wait, we need to keep large chunks of this file. Oh, man, it's going to be annoying. Okay, so let's just select everything here. Yeah, and then right-click and stage. Oh, you can't do that from here? You have to be in the file? It's too bad the milk gang. I guess it's better than what Yuki's suggestion was originally. All right, stage selected range. Why is that not here either? Okay, fine. I got to be in the diff view, but I can't be in the diff view for many files. I have to be in just this one. There we go. Now we can stage it. And then I want this too. Okay, so the only things we're not saving here are the power and fortitude changes. Good. Good, good, good. So then let's keep going. So we don't want to change that right now. We don't want to change that. We don't want that. We don't. Oh, we do need this. How did I miss that? No idea. And it just expanded these again, which I don't want. So yeah, the only change is the power sub at the bottom, yeah. Thought her first suggestion was hilarious. Yeah, I thought it was funny too. She was very shy about it at first. Bone Brigade. The calcium chompers. All right, we're not checking in any of this. This is battle simulator stuff. Adventure, we need to do that. The force buffer, not going to check in. So we need this and this. This is just me alphabetizing it, by the way. Oh, I don't like that it keeps expanding these things. I'm purposely trying to keep them collapsed. And it's re-expanding them. So I want this change. And this change. And this. Cool. Any others? Yeah, adventurer. The life bar thing is separate. So let's not do that yet. These changes should all be important though. They are. Yeah. All right, cool. Okay, so what we did here is allow for a variable number of innate skills. Mushy is going to be the first one with 4, but it still only has 3 for now. This change also means that we now dynamically create innate skill icons instances, as opposed to creating 3 texture rect inside of adventurers panel tab, which I can't type any of this stuff right now. Panel tab. Cool. Let's look through the changes one more time. Just make sure they're good. This is all the scene changes that we made. This is the innate skill icon. This is the thing in ability. Then we manifest all the innate ability IDs, put these things in scene paths so that we can instantiate them, and then instantiated them. Yeah. Also, we got rid of 12 lines in here by doing this dynamically. We can simplify some things. And we also removed some other lines from other places. Okay, cool. So there's that. Let's close out of all these other things. I don't think I care about them anymore. And then I want to look at this. This is fix capitalization on close call. Any other quick changes like that? No, I think that's it. This one. Yeah, this we need to check in. End life fade out tween on revival. This isn't needed yet, but if revival times are too quick, then the character will revive with no life bar, no visible life bar. Cool. All right. So now we're at the changes that I wanted to make for this. So he said make something say that Mushy has an X% chance of being hit. So what should we call this? What is the name of an ability that makes enemies want to attack a mushroom? Spore craziness. Or like spore confusion. I don't like either of those. Mushroom aggression. Shroom time. It doesn't really, none of these really make sense. Maybe this one kind of does. But it's more like, I guess the thing we need to figure out for flavor is what's making an enemy want to attack. Is it like their mind has been poisoned? Oh, actually, that's kind of that's not bad. Poison mind. Enemies are 50% more likely to attack Mushy. Irresistible fungi. Mushroom madness. Fungus among us. Spore rage. I kind of like poison mind. Irresistible fungus isn't too bad. Fungus. Lifebeard, thanks for the resub. Welcome back. Happy 16 months. Currently on a 1-year streak. Nice. Yeah, I kind of like Poison Mind. Yeah. All right. Taunting Toadstool. Okay, that one is pretty good. Let me look up what's the dictionary definition of toadstool. A type of fungus, typically characterized by an umbrella-shaped cap and a stalk. Often refers to poisonous or inedible one. Taunting toadstool. Plumber's hunger. Mushroom magnet. So I still think I'm leaning toward Poison Mind in that this to me is sort of negatively themed. You don't want this character to be a tank, and yet it ends up taking hits anyway. So I think I'm going to name it this. But I do appreciate Taunting Toadstool, although I strongly suspect that AI was involved with this. Poison Mind. All right, so this is going to be a passive that we're just going to bake into the Heart of the Forest buff anyway, which we probably shouldn't do. So what's another thing we have? I guess Heart of the Forest is the thing that we have. This is a passive ability granting buff. The proper way for us to code this would be to make a buff based on this thing. So let's just code it the proper way then. Why not? So what do we call it? Poison Mind buff equals 48. All right, and then this needs to be, the buff that we get out of this needs to be something that lasts through death. Yes, cool. All right, well, the proper way here doesn't take very long to do, so I think it's okay to just do it. Poison Mind. And then we need an icon for this as well. So icon ID, we go add in Poison Mind. Poison Mind. And then we select all of these things and press F9. So now it's alphabetized, all icon data. We need to go make one of those things too. Poison Mind. We alphabetize all of these. We go make the icon ID. So Skeleseller, game, assets, icons, ability. And we copy anything, right? Close call to Poison Mind. This is just a placeholder. It's going to look like an apple core because I'm not drawing anything myself. All right, so now we can rename all this stuff. Poison Mind. And this is going to have a public const float chance to be, or like extra chance to be hit is 0.5. We could lower that a little bit. I do want them to die first. Max level has no such concept. Oh, this is more like stealth, I guess. Yeah, it's just a passive. No, it's not like stealth. What's it called? Cloak of Shadows. No, it's not even called Cloak of Shadows. How does it have a max level of 2? That's a mistake. Yeah, that's a mistake. This should not have a max level set at all. Did we do that anywhere else? Max level 2? Stealth has a max level of 2. Although that shouldn't be hard-coded. That should be Cloak of Shadows dot stealth duration dot count -1. Oh man, we did this all over the place. Oh, I don't like that. Oh god. Okay. Well, hey, typical. I'm doing well. Okay, well, let's not fix this all right now then. I'll just write a note that that's broken, or not even really broken, but kind of sort of broken. So Cloak of Shadows should not have a max level of 2. Pretty much anything that had a max level set to 2, or possibly even a max level set to 1. Yeah, many of these should be addressed. I'll write that on like cleanup for later. Search for max level /D. Most of them should be taken from the number of elements we have in a list. Cloak of Shadows has a hard-coded 2, which makes no sense whatsoever since it's passive, since it's innate. How are you doing, typical? All right, so then we're not going to change this stuff right now because it's going to poison this diff. And the only thing we're trying to poison is minds. So let's go to wherever the other thing I changed was. No, I think I backed that out. Okay, so then back to poison mind for a bit. Does this look good? We need this to look like Heart of the Forest. No, not like Heart of the Forest, like Cloak of Shadows. Yep, looks good. Cool. Okay, so back to poison mind. Okay, so get ability description is just return messages.description. And then we take in the chance to miss, extra chance to be hit. Cool. And then for the description, we say increases the chance to be hit by attacks by chance. Then we format number, $, quotation mark, this, colon, B0. I sure hope that's what we want for this. We delete these things and delete that. Yeah, nice. There. So that's that whole thing. This should also change to poison mind buff. Anything else we can get rid of here? Well, I guess we need effects. We just don't have that yet. All right, so Heart of the Forest buff. I'm going to save this as poison mind buff. Replace all of this. And then delete everything else. This can be pulled from poison mind itself. I wrote this, consider having this be at 0% when an ally is taunting. We should still probably do that. The rest of this doesn't matter. Okay, so that all looks good. How does poison mind look now? Should all be used. Yeah, good. We don't need that. And let's look at our format number. Should be pretty much identical to what we had done. Where's anything with a percent? I want a percent ability. Wild shot. Here we go. Yeah, format number, colon P0. Yeah, good. Cool. Okay, now let's go give them that ability. So now they should start with Poison Mind. And then should we change the order at all? I think Accelerated Regeneration should maybe go at the end. Yeah. All right, let's take a look at that. Oh, and then Heart of the Forest needs to remove the code that I had on it. Heart buff. My God, stop taking the focus. Heart buff. Yeah, will redirect can be gone. It'll still function the same way. Actually, both of them will work. So I guess we do need to restart this. The 50% will stack and make it like 75%. Okay, so let's take a look at our new character. You have Spore Cloud, Fungal Spread, Poison Mind, increases the chance to be hit by attacks by 50%, and instantaneously heals. All right, so if all we do is just put this character into a battle with, let's say, the Mage and the Rogue, the Mushroom should probably die. Yeah, so they should get hit more often than the other characters. And so far, it looks like it's been true. Yeah, I think it has been. Nice, 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 nice. And then let's go put a slightly more flavorful text here. Poisons the mind of all enemies, increasing the chance to be hit by attacks. Increasing Mushy's chance. Mushroom name? Possessive? We can't do that. That probably doesn't work that way in every language. Increasing the chance for mushroom name to be hit by enemies. That'll work. And do we ever do mushroom name somewhere? We do. Nice. Heals mushy at the end of battle. Yeah. Cool. All right, so let's put this here. And then just import all of this stuff. And let's take a look. So that's just a tiny amount of flavor text to make it less obvious that this is a bad thing, but not really a bad thing. I wanna very slightly confuse people. Poisons the mind of all enemies, the minds of all enemies. They don't just have one mind. Increasing the chance for Mushy to be hit by attacks by 50%. Yeah. Okay, cool. Cool. I like it. All right, let's check all this stuff in. So that one, this. Heart of the Forest does not need to be checked in. Mental Swiftness does not. Poison Mind does. All Adventure Data now has this stuff checked in. So let's do that. Poison Mind buff. So I wrote consider having this be 0%. Let's just turn that off for now. And if people report that as a bug, we can always change it. But it's intentional for now, at least. And then the rest of this stuff should be good. Oh, not all of this was alphabetized? How did I... Oh, I just added them all at the end. Wow. Yeah. Okay, well then, let's check that in. Add Poison Mind. This is the 4th innate ability of Mushy. It makes enemies more likely to attack them. This was done because the whole character is based around needing to die, but there was no guarantee that they would die. And yeah, that's pretty much it. This essentially guarantees that this character is going to die, probably first of all of your adventurers in every battle that they're in. And they don't need to be the first. They just need to die. And now we need to work on their synergies. Yeah, this is looking good. Cool. Check that in. Also, I'm very curious about the stats. Let's look at the stats. Fixate on metrics. Current player is 133. This is, like I said, the highest it's ever been. I don't know what this page shows. View detailed player breakdown. Lifetime. Is it showing? Why would all history show back to 1998 and not just all history for this game? But let's click this section. This doesn't really help. I want just the middle part. Yeah, okay, there we go. So the last peak that we had was, it looks like 24. Unless maybe this is June 27th. No, that's today. Yeah, so the last peak that we had was 24. And that was during Idler Fest. And then even during Next Fest, we only peaked at 16. And then one YouTuber covers the game, and we're peaking at whatever that number was, 144. Like that's crazy. 133. Yeah, nuts. Yeah, we know that time started in 1970. Is zero repent? Okay, so next up, what are we doing? Make something say this. We've done that. Get rid of the self-damaging on Spore Cloud. Yep, let's go do that. Coat an enemy in fast-acting spores. You damage yourself for recoil damage. Okay, so that's gone. Recoil damage is there. That's gone. And it needs to be gone from here too. So recoil damage and then deal damage to yourself. That can all go away. So that should be that. Let's go try that. So unlock all adventurers. So we're just going to put them into a fight, and they should not hurt themselves anymore. They should only hurt enemies, and they'll take a long time to do it. So they'll take 10, then maybe they'll attack for some amount. But they should only ever take that 10 from the enemy. Yeah, nice. They did not take extra damage there. All right, so I think they'll win this battle. It's going to be a little bit close because of how long it takes for them to attack. But then once they win, they'll immediately be back at full life. And we can just start the battle again. So that's the special ability that we have here, accelerated regeneration. There is no regeneration time at the end. Okay, so remove self recoil damage on Spore Cloud. Now that Poison Mind exists, this doesn't need, the recoil damage doesn't need to exist. What else? What else? What else? What else? Also, it didn't really make sense in the first place from a flavor perspective. It was just a mechanic that was practically necessary, although not well made. No, let's leave it at that. I only need to write so much extra stuff there. So that's done. Now make Heart of the Forest an innate ability. Every time you die, come back with X% life. X starts at 100 and decreases by Y on each death. Yeah, so I'd love to come up with better phrasing for that. But then what else did we say we were going to do? Merge this one and this one. So it would say when Spore Cloud kills an enemy, use it again on another enemy. This effect can keep triggering itself. And then we just have the table of stuff. This used to have a level 0 ability, though. That won't be possible anymore, right? I don't think we ever have a precedent of doing that. We could make them have 5 innate abilities. I guess if we already have 4, adding a 5th now is not difficult. So that we just keep this exactly the same. And then just add in one more innate ability called Heart of the Forest and rename this to Improved Heart of the Forest. Yeah. Honestly, that's probably best if we're going to have a level 0 ability of something. In fact, maybe that's how we should change the Archer. Wild Shot has this Rapid Shot. At level 0, this does something, but it shouldn't. It's this that should do the thing. And we just need to fix that at some point. Okay, so here's what I'm really doing by making this change that I'm about to make. I'm pretty much saying Quickie Joe has to make another icon so that I don't have to split this up differently. But there actually is a functional impact to this. So if we move this to only an unlocked ability, it means that you won't have this effect happen if you haven't gotten the unlocked ability, which would nerf this character by some amount. I don't think that's a good idea. So I think we are gonna go the 5 and 8 ability route. Oh man. Yeah. Apple core. Golem and Spear Color also only have apple cores. All adventure data. So let's see if it all fits. It should. So we're gonna put Quick Strike here. Let's see what that looks like. It's gonna have a sword icon and not an apple icon. Yeah, 5 will fit. Oh man. Um, I think players will find this idea a little bit fun that this character has more innate abilities than anyone else. And if we keep the unlock orders roughly what they are now, then it means that they're unlocked toward the end of the game. So maybe having that much reading is okay. All about the passives. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. There are quite a lot of abilities that they have. All right, I think I am leaning toward this. So we don't need to do this. I'll just cross this off. This and this need to be done though. So we need to change the name, the functionality, and I guess the numbers, but the functionality is changing, so that's kind of implied. So rename the original Heart of the Forest to Improved Heart of the Forest. And then make Heart of the Forest an innate ability. Okay. So we probably shouldn't change any of this stuff right now. So revert that. There should be no changes now. This we could just check it on its own. I'm gonna do this right now. Nerf mental swiftness. The mage is doing way more damage than other characters, at least at level 6. By reducing the chance for mental swiftness to activate, this reduces the DPS by a small amount. It also makes inspiration relatively better since I didn't change those numbers. We killed 2 birds with 1 stone. Give me another sec. Sorry, I know there are a lot of interruptions today. I'll be right back. Okay. So this is in the battle simulator. This we still need to do. Okay, yeah, let's go rename this stuff then. Ability ID. So Heart of the Forest is going to be renamed to Improved Heart of the Forest. And then Heart of the Forest is going to be... No, maybe that was a dumb idea. Maybe let's just make a new one down here. And then we got to change the description of this. And we got to give the character the right thing here. Heart of the Forest and Improved Heart of the Forest. Yeah, we probably need to rearrange when you unlock various skills. The forest. Okay. Not repeat. Great. So let's get to this now. So we got to reword this. Every time you die, come back. So after dying, the heart of the forest will restore you back to life. The amount of life restored starts at 100% and decreases with each death. Decreases by, well, I guess we should say like starting percent, and decreases by decrease percent on each death. There, yes, I think this is what I want to say. So let's read this again. After dying, the heart of the forest will restore you back to life. Restore you back to life. The amount of health, that's what that should say, restored starts at 100% and decreases by 50% on each death. Yeah, perfect. I think it's pretty good. Okay, so now we don't need headers for these things. We just need the description. Return messages.get description. So starting percent gonna be here. Public const float starting life percent restored equals 1. All right, so that goes there. And then the decrease percent decrease percent restored or percent decrease per death is going to be 50%. Yeah, so that goes here. Let me delete all of that. And everything else looks good. Yeah. Okay, and you start with this ability, and it gives you this buff. So now we need to change how this buff works. So we need to know how many deaths you've had so far. Private int num deaths. So on deaths, add that. Time until revive is always going to be set to 2 seconds, which we probably need to say somewhere. Public const float revive delay. 2s. What am I talking about? So time until revive equals that revive delay. Let's put that right in the ability too before I forget. After dying, the heart of forest will restore you back to life. So it should be like delay after dying. So 2 seconds after dying, the heart of the forest will restore you back to life. The amount of health restored starts at 100% and decreases by 50% on each death. Yeah. So now we put this here. Delay is going to be revive delay 0 dot $s. Okay, good. Now we go back to here. That looks fine. Level is get the level of improved heart of the forest, which we're not even going to use yet. Then update while dead. This is totally fine. Get the improved heart of the forest again. So the life percent is going to change. So we need to compute this to compute this. And then, yeah, and then we just call revive. So I think this is all we need to do, right? It's basically just going to be the starting life restored. So this times heart of the forest dot decrease times number of deaths minus 1. This is a minus. So this is float life percent decrease. And that's this. And then that just needs to be, yeah, filled in. All right, we don't use the level yet because I didn't code any of those parameters. But we'll need to use that. The time until revive isn't going to change here, so I guess this isn't needed. And the reason it's number of deaths -1 is because your first death shouldn't count. Is that phrased correctly? The amount of health restored starts at this and decreases. How about on each revive? And technically, this should probably say revival, right? Can you use revive as a noun? I know people do with video games, but I don't think it technically is a noun. No, it is purely a verb. Man, what I've been hearing when I watch Smash games is people say like something like, "Oh, that's a heavy attack. Are they gonna live that?" And this is supposed to be survive, but people don't want to use an extra syllable while they're commentating. And it just rubs me the wrong way. So anyway, this is kind of like revive, except for that I think revive is very commonly used as a noun in video games. So I don't think it'd stick out too much, but yeah, we should probably just use proper English. Okay, cool. So now we need to go code improved Heart of the Forest, which doesn't even exist. And it's going to look pretty much like how Heart of the Forest used to look. So let's just copy paste that. This does not need to grant an ability. So we'll save this as improved Heart of the Forest and then just copy paste everything and rename all of these things to improved Heart of the Forest. Oh, which means we need an icon ID. Fine. Root EFGH. Heart of the Forest. All icon data. Fungal spread. Improved Heart of the Forest. We got to go save this now. Oops, I wanted that. Yeah, Quickie Joe to the rescue. I feel bad. I'm like, hey, remember when it was just 10 icons per character? Now it's 12. It's not per character, at least. It's just this one. All right, so what are we changing here? We're just changing one variable, and it's the decrease percentage. So we'll just put this right into here, I guess. Just one more ability, bro. Trust me. So we're gonna make a list. Revive delays. It's gonna. Oh no. What am I doing? No. That's not a list of revive delays. That's a list of percent decreases per death. All right, so it starts at 50, and then it's 40, 30, 20, and we just need Fs at the end of these things. And then we delete this and use this from. We got to modify the tooltip. I got to do that. But then this is what's going to change. This needs to be percent decrease per death level. So many icons. Oh no. He's listening. Yeah, like I said, I feel bad about this. I think this makes the most sense for the game. But I don't know how long it takes Quickie Joe to do these. And there's already... I'd almost finished the original set too. Oh, man. Okay, well, I think none of the originals are going to be changed at all. At least not yet. And either way, even if they were, I think I could find a way to like rename the ability so that the icon still makes sense. And even if that weren't the case, I don't think players care too much about it. The icon like perfectly matches the name. In fact, I've heard some like little nitpicky things, which like this one, for example, this says lethality. It has nothing to do with healing, but the icon has little crosses that make people think of healing. And I've heard someone comment on that, and I'm like, okay, yeah, sure, but it's not such a big deal. No worries, Art. Well, thank you. It's very gracious of you. I can change it. I don't think you need to. I think this is fine. I've only heard the one person comment on that. And either way, like the artwork is nice. Ever since one of the updates we did, it's all very crisp, even at 2x scale. So like, yeah, I don't think any of those probably need to be changed. All right, so there's something I still need to do here, and it is modify the tooltip of this. No, wait, not this one. No, it is this one. But it's also this one. So we need to change them both. So what does it say? Improves heart of the forest name such that you revive with more. It's technically that you lose less life each time you revive. This is technically correct, but I don't think it's phrased such that it's the clearest. But let's at least start with this. So then what do we call the header for this? Percent decrease header. Health decrease. Yeah, something like that. All right, so we get the level of this ability, and then we get this header. We don't need these. We need this to be heart of the forest dot percent decrease. And then get description needs to take in heart of the forest name, which I don't have, but I guess Spore Cloud has, so we could look at dying below and get Spore Cloud name and then just copy paste that over there. And just rename this. It should know what I want to do. Yeah. And that's it. Is that it? No, that's not it, because now this needs to be parameterized based on the level of this ability. So improved heart of the forest level is equal to this stuff. Hey, LJ. Always good to see a person who knows every number squared from 1 to 31. But don't ask me about 32 squared. Certainly not anything higher than that. So this is ability ID. By the way, welcome to the stream. Ability ID improved heart of the forest. And now we want to use this to get the level. Okay, I think we're done with all of this. Let's try it out. We might want to change some wording. Hopefully the ability actually works. So let's just go read this. 2 seconds after dying, the heart of the forest will restore you back to life. The amount of health restored starts at 100% and decreases by 50% on each revival. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now what about this one? Improves heart of the forest such that you lose less life each time you revive. Yeah, that's pretty clear. All right. Oh, except for it's just called heart of the forest. No, that's not good. We need to call it improved heart of the forest. Okay. Now let's test it out. So we're going to set this back to level 0. And we're going to put them in a battle. Oh, this is going to be pretty hard to do, isn't it? Because we can't have them die so fast. So I guess... Oh, you know what we could do? We could do this. We could put them in a battle. Let's not try to get crafty about this. Let's just throw them in the volcano. And put them in with the rogue. For the cleric. Oh, you know what we could do? Okay, we could get crafty, but in a smarter way. We just make it so the cleric doesn't take any damage. Now the mushroom has to die first. All right, so they're going to die, and then after 2 seconds, they should come back with 50% life. Oh, and then they're going to get stuck reviving with 0% life. Okay, I got to fix that part. Yeah, so they... Oh, that didn't even work. Okay, well, there's a lot broken about this. Oh, wait, no, that technically was correct. Oh, did I want that to happen, though? This is not Linux. This is Mac. Okay, so this is what I had written out here originally. So technically what this meant was the battle starts, then you die, then revive at 100%, then revive at 50%. So the total was 3 lives. And that's how it's coded as well. But should it be? Are you still talking like when you're streaming? If I stream for long enough, yes. Well, sometimes. Maybe like half of the amount that I'm talking when I'm streaming. But I think this is a very valuable thing to do while I'm streaming for two reasons. One, it keeps everyone in the loop about what I'm thinking. And two, it sort of rubber ducks as I'm speaking, as I'm coding. So I'm trying to keep this habit. And in keeping the habit, it means that, yes, I do sometimes just talk to myself. Although sometimes the cat's around and it feels like I'm just talking to her. She probably knows some pretty good coding by now. Keeps me more sane and more formatted whenever I try to think of a lot of stuff together. Lose my insanity. I lose my sanity. Yeah. Yeah. I think having people around helps for that. So even though everyone is just in chat and I'm not seeing you face to face, I think it still helps to know that you're there. I don't think the talking to myself part probably helps for that. Like I know that other people are absorbing what I'm saying. I think that's the impactful part. Gives all company branded rubber ducks. I like that. I think that's nice. That's a cutesy thing. Rubber duck without his face glued onto it. I keep it in a shrine next to some candles. Not weird at all. How's it going, bud? Hey, how's your gaming table? How's that been panning out for you? All right, let's leave this at 3 lives. I think that's fine. So now we need to test, though, them dying multiple times. And like I said, this is probably pretty hard to do. So let's try this, and let's just toggle invincibility at key moments here. So the mushroom's going to die. We're going to turn on invincibility as fast as we can. Okay, good. Now it's going to come back with 100% life. Now they're going to die again. Then we're going to turn on invincibility. Cool. Now they're going to come back to 50% life. And then they're going to die another time, and it's going to be broken. Now they're going to revive with 0% life. Yeah. So that part we need to fix. So that comes from here. And we need to say if life percent is greater than 0, then revive them. Actually, this is probably not technically correct. We probably need to be math.epsilon. Yeah. What's the font name? In the editor? The editor font is Hack. Hey, Goose Goose. It's very gamer. I'm currently doing some open SCAD designs. The 3D print to create some trays to hold your gamer pizza plate. Do you have a problem with people eating finger foods and then touching all your game pieces in your table? Yes. Even as an adult, I still need to tell friends that I have over, like, can you please wash your hands before you play video games in our place? Because I'm just sick of the amount of damage I've seen done to my controllers from way back when people are like, pizza and gaming, yes, that goes well together. Let's get our greasy hands all over your controllers. Yeah, or carefully curate the food that you're serving them. Maybe Zays. Please stop touching the cards with Cheetos on your fingers. So we have a Slay the Spire board game, and I'm not trying to throw my friends under the bus. All of the cards have sleeves for them, but still, you don't want the sleeves to get dirty. And every once in a while, you do take the cards out of the sleeves because you have to flip them around to upgrade them. You understand you must give up on taking care of your electronics. But I'm talking about when adults come over. So, Boomer, are you okay with if you had friends over and you're like, okay, it's time to play Mario Kart, and you hand out a controller to each person, and you're like, you know what? I've got kids, so just eat pizza while you play. That's totally fine. Because I feel like you'd tell them, hey, there's already enough damage done to these. But maybe not. Hey, Godik. We have 2 tables in the kitchen, one for food and another for where food and drinks are forbidden. Side tables for drinks. Of all the people in chat, I think Godik's probably the most serious about this stuff. Hey, Ozzy. You said I have friends. I did. Okay, my bad. I've only rubbed it in your face. All right, let's make sure the revive at 0% doesn't happen. So at some point, they're just dead for good. We could put an infinite amount of revives on and just say, oh, you keep reviving with like 1% life. But I don't think it's a good idea. In fact, I think that's a bad idea. It's the opposite of a good idea. Okay, now we go over to here. And we do the exact same thing we just did. I know this takes a little bit of time to test, but it is pretty important to test this stuff. So we're going to keep toggling invincibility. So they die. They come back with 100% life. Good. They die again. They come back with 50% life. Good. And then they die another time and they don't revive anymore. Yeah, they're dead for good. So now what happens if we win this battle? Yeah, nice. No errors or anything. Pretty cool. Hey, Orphoria, long time no see. How goes it? Our table has cup holder support, so ideally that should avoid the drink spillage, but the ones I bought are so precarious. Frosthaven takes an ungodly amount of table space. Okay, so ever since we got the Slay the Spire board game, we've played, let's say, 3 times. And every time there's a ton of setup and a ton of teardown, and there are these tiny little red cubes that you get. Slay the Spire board game. They're really tiny. I want to see if I can show a picture of these. Yeah, okay, here's a picture of it. Although there's no real thing for scale here. But anyway, there are these tiny little red cubes, and there are cards that you're supposed to put the cubes on, and it tracks life, which is really important. They're so easy to nudge just slightly off, and now you can't tell was it 9 or 8. And I just think I've never used Tabletop Simulator, but I'm guessing they have ways of fixing all of these problems and like infinite table space, and you can zoom on things that you want to zoom in on. But I think part of the fun of board games is having a tactile feel and also not being on a screen the whole time. So it kind of defeats the purpose if you were to do that. But I do kind of wonder, what if we did that? You haven't even played it, 1234? 700 games? Wow. And yes, drawing the line in grease is good. Uno cards are waterproof. They go in a mesh bag and in with the laundry. So they're waterproof, but they're foldable, right? Whoops. I guess the only problem with wear on cards like that would be is if you could tell what card is what based on the wear. So you could see what your opponents have in their hands, which is probably pretty hard to do. In Tabletop Simulator. Yeah, it just sounds like Tabletop Simulator is such a cool idea. Gonna look into setting up an iPad with some Frosthaven companion app, just because the tactileness has a limit when you're updating like 20 different physical things every turn. Yeah, yeah, I do feel like a bit of a robot as I'm playing Slay the Spire. And I'm like, okay, end of turn. This thing does this much damage. Okay, roll the die for this thing. Then move all these cubes around. I'm like, the game does this for me in half a second. All right, this is looking good. Good, good, good. Nothing really wrong from a code perspective from what I've seen. Oh, what's this stuff doing? This is all gone. Goodbye. And then this needs to be here. Okay, one thing wrong from a code perspective. Otherwise, looking pretty good. That's all fine. These numbers probably shouldn't change right now. Those definitely shouldn't change. All right, so then we need to start splitting some hairs here. All right, let's check in this, this, and then here we got to split it up a bit. So that one, none of that. This stuff all needs to change. Is there any divide by 0 potential here? No. And then there's this stuff. Okay, so split Heart of the Forest is so based around reviving that you shouldn't need to put skill points into an ability for it to happen. Okay, let's get back to balance stuff. How's about? All right, so going back to the battle simulator. Probably shouldn't have deleted the baselines, but I did, and it's too late. So let's go put the archer back in the battle. Get rid of this. You have some abilities. I don't know what they were originally, but that's fine. And then put this back to the archer. And let's run that. The learning curve, once you're past it, it's amazing. Do you want a screen though to be involved when you play those games? I guess it all depends on personality and what your values are. Because like I said, I think being away from a screen is actually pretty healthy for your eyes. But it's if you want to be efficient with a game, I feel like it's not as good. All right, so here's all the group damage that we're doing. This is just the baseline. Baseline. Okay, average battle duration is 14.4 seconds. Is the mage still doing a crazy amount? The archer is doing a crazy amount? God, there's just no balance in this game, is there? Why is the archer so powerful? All right, well, whatever. So then maybe that was part of the issue. I guess by taking the archer out of the battle, we're taking out the strongest person, which is making the battle last for longer, which then makes it. No, that shouldn't matter. I don't think that should matter. Maybe let's just take the rogue out. Yeah, let's take the rogue out. Okay, so let's put the mushroom in. Tag this character out. Tag this character back in. Get rid of the rogue from here. So now we've changed the skills quite a lot. So dying is built into this class. So if we were to do this and then run this again, now the other party members should do more damage because the mushroom's going to die and then invigorate them all. This is probably too powerful. Interesting AR hybrid of digital and physical card games. That sort of thing, actually, I never thought about this. I guess the first thing that I used asymmetrical multiplayer on, but at least with the video game, excuse me, was the Wii U. The Wii U has a tablet controller, and then everyone else has kind of a normal controller. So whoever has the tablet can actually have a different view of the game from all the other people. So imagine playing like hide and seek. The people hiding can see everything. The people seeking, well, the person seeking can't see everything. I guess that same sort of thing could happen in AR, right? You could all have a different view of what's on the table. There are probably some really cool games you could make with that idea. Okay. So how much damage is the mushroom doing now? 31 compared to the rogue's 47. But the point was that the party DPS probably rose. And it did indeed. So it went from 211 up to 224. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But the whole point is to see how much can the mushroom do on their own. So what abilities should I get? I feel like close call is probably terrible, but it does affect dying blow. Let's get frenzy. Yeah, that does. Physical cards in view of a webcam. You see the other player's board state, and the game has some computer vision tech to read cards. Sort of like the e-reader on Game Boy. I had that thing, but it's actually nothing like that, I'm sure. You have to like scan barcodes or something. So expensive to get a set of those AR glasses, but it'd be a fun project to try. Also curious about trying those setups where people just have a keyboard with a Steam Deck built in, and they use glasses as their main display. Yeah, I think AR would have to be much cheaper for game designers to want to make like a 4-player AR game. Because who's going to spend $14,000 on Apple Vision Pros for everybody? I don't even know if that's a thing people do. I know that's not a thing people do. All right, mushroom damage is 34. So our general goal is to bring this up to like 47, and we've already changed a bunch of things. I guess we lowered the life of the mushroom character by enough now where they're just dying super fast. And there's kind of no stopping that. Maybe we make them take damage less frequently. I do kind of want to track how many deaths happen per battle. Oh, we could just run this manually and see. So just save and quit. And turn this off. Like 400, be like 2K for your AR Monopoly dreams. Imagine that's what you do with it. Like, let's all play Monopoly. What's the augmented part? Nothing. The pieces glow. So load game. Go put our party into the deep forest. We got to get the same characters. So we took out the archer, I think. So it's going to be this party. So how many times does the mushroom die? There's one. Oh, they can only die twice. Or maybe 3 times. Because I never upgraded the skill. Also, this has to be a bug. I don't think this buff persists through death. Or something's not working about it? What's going on there? What is that called? Poison Mind? It has persist through death set to true. But it didn't look like it was working. I need to set a breakpoint on this after it dies. So right now, it is getting hit. So the mushroom got hit. The mushroom got hit. The mushroom got hit. Okay, it's definitely working. It must have been random chance because the warrior can take hits when they're taunting. So it would have been a 50% chance that the mushroom gets hit, just like usual. Or I'm not sure how it works. Just like Animal Crossing, bud. More or less rich to other players based on your assets. You've got like gold chains on, diamonds. Other characters got like tattered clothes. You really never know what ideas are going to catch on. I was just reading an article today that there's like a bongo cat on Steam and it's got 130,000 concurrent users or something like that. And you can buy hats for the cat or yeah, different styles. And it's just that's it. That's the whole thing. You've already seen what this is all about. So it's free to download and it's apparently not making them a ton of money. They said $3,000 per month. And they said that's not even the cost of like development on this thing. Although I don't know what development they're doing. So yeah, this thing alone is enough to get a ton of people to install it. See, Adam Hat. Is this like the banana game? Yeah, apparently that's why people are getting this in the first place, is because there's some trading cards. Yeah, these sorts of things. Or something. Yeah, this item drop pool, whatever this is. I've never really learned this system on Steam, but there's some way to get real money out of this, I think. Pet snake with customizable hats. Did you hear what we were talking about yesterday with the monster farming stuff? I don't remember who all was here. But imagine we have the farm here, we have the fishing pond here. Imagine if over here we got like a snake farm and you get snake eggs and then you start like raising snakes. And once you fully raise them, you click them and it feeds them the chef slime. I think it'd be hilarious. You spend all this time customizing your snakes only to feed them to a slime. Okay, so number of deaths is still not that high, which makes me think there's not a problem with the life value here. It's maybe a problem with the warrior being in the battle. Let's put a different character in the battle. Let's take the warrior out and put the archer in. Let's see how that goes. Oh wait, whoops. There's no mushroom now. What did I just do? I don't even think I took the warrior out. Excuse me. I took the mushroom out. So mushroom dies. Comes back once. Probably won't die again. No. I wonder if we should make it an even higher chance that they get targeted. Right now it's 50%. They're not supposed to be a tank though. Kind of acting as a tank. Hey Clonk, how you doing? I wonder, I kind of want to just make them have even less life than they do. All adventure data. Okay, right now they're at 65% of the base life value. What if we make them like 45%? True glass cannon. Buying $40 of games you'll never play because of the summer sale. It makes sense when there's a sale that you might buy a lot and then not play them now. But I still feel like if you don't play them ever, you should probably just refund them, I guess. Most Steam gamers beg to differ. I want my game library. It must have all of the games. Okay, so now the mushroom has almost no life. So they died a little bit sooner. But they don't end up dying twice in this wave anyway. They still only died once. All right, let's throw them all in the Inferno and just see what they do. DPS is through the roof. This character is practically guaranteed to die as many times as it can now. Unless the other ones die first. They're doing so much damage. The archer's glowing red. Oh. Okay. Yeah, so that's a little closer to what I want to have happen. How do we make that a reality? I guess we need to lower the level of these characters by a little bit. Decorate the old library page. You get hats, I get games. Also, what time is it? Okay, almost lunchtime. We've made progress today, but not the amount that I wanted to make. I still feel like this character is not figured out. And there are a lot of ways we can approach this too, and it just makes it so difficult. Like if we just level up this character normally, we'd only have access to these skills. I think close call is probably bad now if we're focusing on them dying. First Spore Cloud use happens sooner. Proves damage dealt by this. There are synergies at least. I keep thinking that at least as long as there are synergies, it's fine and people can just decide what's good for themselves. This is nuts now. Because how often you can die. In Spore Cloud, there's a chance you use it on an extra enemy. Okay, so let's use that. Put a bunch of points into things. Let's just get every skill. Let's see what the theoretical maximum effectiveness of this character can be. They're level 6. I'm just going to throw them into a battle here with a cleric. I'm going to give the cleric that. All right, what happens? So they use their ability right off the bat pretty quickly. Then they're probably going to die, but that causes them to use an ability. Oh, because they're dead, it doesn't get chained on other enemies? No, that's not true. It's because they didn't kill the enemy that didn't get chained. Okay, there we go. So this team alone is enough to win. The mushroom keeps falling over and coming back. Crazy. Yeah, I like the idea. I still don't think the damage numbers back up that this is good yet. Although maybe that's the wrong way to look at this. Maybe this is now a tank. And as long as it's absorbing hits from your other characters, that you feel like it has more value. Hmm. Okay, well, how about we look at skill order? What should you be able to get first? Because Heart of the Forest is really interesting. Yeah. That one I think I do want to have be last. First Spore Cloud happens sooner. Prove damage. Upon dying, use Spore Cloud. I don't know. I don't think Close Call is all that interesting. Yeah, I think that one should be moved lower. But then beyond that, I don't really have any ideas. Heart of the Forest should maybe be third, fourth. Dying Blow being earlier. These are all so interesting. I think let's move that one a little bit lower too. Okay, let's take a look at that order. I've had such an annoying day, so I deserve this. The sales, buying a ton of games. I agree. I think you deserve it. So first Spore Cloud used in battle is faster. Upon dying, use Spore Cloud. That's all pretty good. I like that. This is good too. Cool. Then we start getting into the more questionable stuff. I think Frenzy should be before Close Call. Yeah. Okay. So there, done. Rearrange Mushy's skills. I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll check in just that. And then we're going to say rebalance Mushy's stats. They do a lot more damage and have a lot less life. And then in the battle simulator, we're going to revert all of this stuff and then change now the commented out line to be Deep Forest. Fix comment. All right, now I just checked all of that into main. Should probably put this in a different branch. Is it too late to just do get checkout dash B, rebalance Mushy, and then publish this branch? Does this work? Oh, it does. Okay, nice. That's what we're doing then. Okay, so rebalance Mushy. Oh, what do we do? Allowed for any number of innate abilities. Fixed a bug with stalagmites. Sound effect. Rebalanced, like changed Mushy's abilities to make them more revive focused. And changed Mushy's stats to make them slightly more of a tank somehow. I'll have to reset the local main. All right, so we changed a million files, although a lot of this was because we changed every adventurer, right? I guess it's not really a million files. Yeah, okay. Okay, let's merge that. Is there an open issue on this? No. Let's go back to main. Git switch main. Git reset hard. That won't work, will it? No, that won't work. Can we just pull and have this not break anything? Yeah, I want to undo all of that. All right, let's revert to where we were just before this thing. So I guess this commit. Git reset. Wait, that should do it, right? Yeah, that should do it. Okay. All right, well, that was the mushroom character, which I wonder if we should change their role now to say that they're also a tank, like fragile tank. It just says roll damage. Unfortunately, now they're like practically everyone's a tank. We have the warrior, the paladin, the mushroom, the golem, the witch doctor. Spirit Caller is listed as a hybrid, which kind of implies that they're somewhat of a tank as well. But that is how they function. List them as a hybrid too. Well, so the Spirit Caller really allows you to develop what you want because of all the different spirits. Whereas a mushroom is innately damage and tank. But they also don't really, I guess they sort of heal themselves. I guess I'm gonna list them as a tank. All right. Yeah, they're done. Okay, so add tank role to mushy. There's no denying that the character takes damage, even though it was never intended when I designed them. Well, when I originally designed them. Yeah. All right, so let's look at the golem character for a bit. Here's the golem character. We need to look at ability, unlock order. You know, the other thing that might be kind of interesting, and this is not how the game should work, but what if instead of my first two adventurers, we started with these new adventurers and we saw how easy is the game or how quick is the game now? It would just give maybe a slightly better feel for how quickly they're going. And it wouldn't even be that hard to do, I guess. We can start auto battling. So let's go send the mage into the forest and put this up there. And then let's also send the golem into the forest. And finally, the spirit caller. I'm blocking this one, so let's put him up here. Or something like that, I don't know. All right, so the mage wins in 11 seconds. And these characters suck. Well, at least at level 1, they're pretty bad. Yeah, so how long did this take? 19. And this one, I'm guessing 30 something. Yeah, 32. This character is not really supposed to be a damage dealer though, so that's probably okay. And this character does have damage dealing abilities. I guess what we really need to compare is once they're a higher level. So let's raise them all to level 4. All right, we'll give you a couple abilities. And then what do you have access to? You only have access to the first 3. So one is improve the damage dealt by Snake Spirit. The other is summon a spirit that's going to heal. Yeah, I definitely want that. And then summon a spirit that's going to raise the power of a single ally. I think that the Spirit Caller should have those 3 abilities be first. So Snake Spirit should be last. And which ones would you care about? I guess healing you would have already had, but just increasing the power. So maybe the Fairy Spirit is third. Yeah, so something like that. This is not really a balancing thing. All right, and then the Golem. Hang on one second. I'll be right back. So then the Golem healing and absorb more damage. This is just crazy. Yeah. This is crazy. It's going to be just too hard to figure this stuff out. All right, I guess let's bail out of this battle. Let's go into some other place. Well, I think we already learned that the Spirit Caller is too powerful. Like, these characters can kind of solo very late instances. In fact, maybe already they can take on this thing. Let's close that and that. Make this larger. We got to get the sound effects because the Spirit Callers are great. Still love seeing the whoop appear over characters. Okay, no, they all died. All right, not bad. That's how they should be. They should be dying like that. Can they handle this? The overshadowed years. I think there's a way to do that. I think you can separate it out by library. At least you could in the old style of family sharing. Okay, it doesn't seem like they're too powerful at this level. The other thing we could do is we could just put this in the hands of playtesters and just say, like, just let us know what you think is not balanced. Honestly, that's probably not too bad. Yeah, these battles are lasting forever. Pretty much because I don't have damage dealers. $50. Okay, so that's 50 seconds to do that. If we raise these characters up, I don't think they'll even live. So now we get rid of those and put these in. And I think they're gonna die. I think you pretty much need a tank at this point. Yeah, it's not looking so hot. No, they're not going in. They're done. Okay, so yeah, they can't even win the fight. I'm curious to test out different combinations here. Like, what if we did have just the golem in now? Is that enough of a tank for them to win? Paladin is going to be very underpowered. So the way that the golem works is when they're at the most life, they will be the one that gets attacked. And when they have these rock charges, then they mitigate damage, and I've got a skill that makes them heal themselves, and something else that I forgot. But yes, they are way tankier this way. It's actually very interesting to see this. So they're going to be able to win this battle. So I think the golem should actually probably do less damage. Because they're like true tank. And if you wanted to make them do more, you could do this. So that took 35 seconds. Let's speed this up a bit. Throw this gigantic boulder at him. You'll find that hilarious. Alright, so that shaved off some time. How much damage do they have? Golem, power level, 80%. I want to lower it a tiny bit. I think they have more than enough tankiness to make up for it. But yeah, as mentioned, I think the Paladin is just bad now. So we put the Paladin in and make them level 4. And then give them any of this stuff. It doesn't even matter. I don't think they're going to do well at all. Their healing just doesn't keep up. Yeah, they die. Paladin, why are you so bad? What we could do is we could lower the number of rays of light we need to heal so that they heal more frequently. The problem we had was that when they're alone in a battle, they will heal all the time and they'll only have one target themselves. But yeah, I think that'd be the right way to go about doing this. Holy light. Number of rays needed to heal 9. That on its own is not a huge buff. But they're dying repeatedly, so let's try it with the buff. I gotta get food pretty soon. Yeah. I want to go back to that location though. Paladin, Mage, Archer. Stupid Paladin idiot. You just don't heal for that much. Yeah. It's just not a good character right now. Also interesting that it still shows rays of light on its dead body. Should probably delete that. Holy light. Why is that still there? Persist through death, true. Why? False. It shouldn't. Because this has, yeah, this shouldn't persist through death. It has no way to revive itself anyway. Just gonna turn off the sound. Whoops. Yeah, I think my conclusion is kind of the same as what I said earlier. I think we should ask for help with this. Ask for help with the character balance. I should definitely take a look myself and try things out. But I probably need to see, I need to test different levels, different party compositions. My biggest concern is that I don't want to make any character too powerful. And the last thing I want to look at here is just the order of unlocks for all these abilities. So Boulder, starting at that, I think is totally fine. Chance to not be consumed, raise number of chunks they can have at one time. So it takes for chunks to form. That one's super powerful. We should probably lower or make this show up sooner. And this ability is nuts. Invulnerability. Maximum number of chunks. Start with additional chunks. Actually, all these things are cool. This one's a little bit more boring. Chance to not be consumed when taking damage. Heal some health. I'm going to leave this as is. Yeah, I already modified this. Okay, no, I'm happy with this. Slightly buff paladin. They take one less ray of light to heal. Cool. Then what's this stuff? We reduce power, reduce golem's power. Stop holy light from persisting through death. This is just to remove the graphics from the paladin. We could have done this a different way, but the paladin can't be revived, so this is the easiest way. All right. Well, yeah, still need to buff the paladin. Probably need to nerf the spirit caller. Definitely need to nerf disorient. What else? Paladin should maybe heal everybody in the party. Or maybe X self-healing and then Y healing needed as amongst other adventures. Sure. Okay, we're done with this. Go modify art requests. Yeah, unfortunately. Update. Now has 2 more abilities. 2 more innate abilities. And we'll mark this as updated now. Oh, by the way, because I'm still curious about this, what are the stats now for people playing the game? We're up to 140 current players. And oh my God, wait. This is all history. Okay, I was like, okay. I was like, that's a really high number. There was in the thousands, but even this is crazy. There have been 400 people who've claimed the demo today. Yeah, that's incredible. This is all because of Idle Cub's video on YouTube, which I have yet to watch, but I definitely want to watch it. And if anyone else wants to watch it, here's the video in all of the different chats that I'm in. Okay, let's fill out the journal. Did some character balancing. Allowed for more than 3 Innate abilities. All right, what do I want to accomplish in the afternoon? I I want to. I think I want to. Man, I want to do so many things. I want to make a new version at some point, and publishing a new demo should be possible, but I want to make sure it's tested as well. So I think we'd hold off on that. All right, let's just try to get some like. Let's get this and this done later. I won't have very much time. So I'm gonna go try to take a very quick lunch. How about this? Let me look at, yeah, I'll just whatever. It's 12:23 right now. I think I have a hard stop at 3. So if I were to take a half-hour lunch, I'd have just 2 hours to stream again. Almost to the point where I wonder if I even should come back to stream again. Like I'd kind of have to rush through lunch, then I'd have to rush through ending. I had to make sure I'm at a good save point for whatever work I'm doing. I think it makes sense to just not stream again in the afternoon. Yeah. Now I can watch this person's video too, leave a comment. All right. Well, I think that's the most sensible thing to do. Thank you all for being here. I'm gonna go find someone to raid. Oh, you know what we should check? Is anyone playing Skeleseller? I should do that every time I'm ending my stream. I doubt I'll ever see someone playing it, but you never know. There's a person with the name Skeleseller on Twitch, and they always show up when I search for Skeleseller because it thinks it's a typo because of how close they are to each other. But no one's playing. All right, then let's raid. Have I raided Hey Vintage before? They've raided us. I'll raid Hey Vintage. They are working on a game too. Should set up a notification. That would actually be a really good idea, yeah. I don't know how to do that. I don't think Twitch has a way, but maybe, well, I'd probably write my own thing. Anyway, like I said, thank you all for watching. I'll be back on Monday, and I'm not sure. We're just gonna keep working toward launch stuff. It's gonna all merge into the different tasks that we have. Yeah, have a good one. Bye, everybody.